SailGP lands in Halifax, Canada. Just 3 events remain in Season 5, and the points awarded here on the stunning waters of Nova Scotia will shape the battle for who can reach the $2 million winner-takes-all grand final. It's a brand new race course. Will it even the playing field? Can the Black Foils prove to Australia it's their time to reign? Will the young guns Spain hold on to their 3rd place overall? Nothing is certain. It's SailGP.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best, yes. Powered by nature, raw passion, all action. When it takes, racing on water, racing with impact. Give it all, everything, give it all, everything. We are racing. When it takes, we are SailGP.
Event 11 of Season 4 sees SailGP move to the North Atlantic and a first visit for the league to the Great White North. Nova Scotia is known as Canada's ocean playground, and its capital city, Halifax, is now the host of the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix. This weekend, the racing will take place on the sacred waters of the Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral lands of the Mi'kmaq people who signed the treaties of peace and friendship with the British Crown nearly 300 years ago. As the league races in this historic area for the first time, it brings with it their mission to respect the land, water, and wind that powers SailGP. And while it may be the league's first time in Canada, Season 4 of SailGP is heading towards its dramatic conclusion. So here's what's happened so far through the first 10 events.
The SailGP season is heating up. 10 events down and just 3 to go. The big story is at the top of the table, where New Zealand's Black Foils currently reign over their rivals.
Our goal all season has been to be the ones being chased, and I'm really excited to be there now.
But you can always count on triple champions Australia to stay in the fight.
They're a stronger team than us, and they deserve the top spot, and we've got a lot of work to do to catch them.
That's not the result that SailGP's used to.
If you think we're happy sort of come the end of the season with a 3rd place, that's not correct.
The young Spanish team are having their best season yet, winning their 2nd event title in Bermuda.
Give it up for the Spanish. They will claim the victory here in Bermuda.
They arrive in Halifax ready to secure their position for the grand final.
We are in a very good position. If we keep working the same way, we can compete and face the top teams in the league.
That, though, is easier said than done, as Denmark, France and Canada will be set on making the top 3, but will fight it out for $2 million in the grand final. Denmark have come so close to a win this season. Can they make the most of an unknown racecourse that could open up the pecking order?
A lot of stuff can still happen, and I don't think Spain has too many friends the next 3 events out there.
France have not performed as well as they did in Season 3, but they are still in the fight for a reason. A string of 4th places plus a 2nd overall in Christchurch means they are more than capable of performing in Halifax.
Absolutely clinical by De La Pierre.
It's Canada's home event, and this could be both a blessing and a curse as they harness the home crowd. They're a team that love to push their F50 to the max.
Phil Robertson, he's always right in the action.
So, will they get carried away, or will they find that extra gear on home waters?
Our team is fired up for this week. They're pumped. There are so many people out here supporting us.
In the second half of the overall standings, it's the United States who have the most to prove after their embarrassing capsize in Bermuda.
Oh, they flipped them! Oh my lord, disaster!
They still have an outside chance of clawing their way back into the podium positions, but can they seize that opportunity here in Halifax?
We haven't given up on this year by any means, and we will fight every minute that we're on the water.
So after 10 events, it is the Black Foils of New Zealand that hold down the top spot. Defending champions Australia are in 2nd overall. Spain has surged into 3rd and have a 9-point cushion for the last grand final position over 4th place at ROCKWOOL, Denmark. France is still in the mix, and then it's this weekend's host Canada and the US holding down 6th and 7th respectively. Emirates, Great Britain are clinging to an outside shot at making the final, and then Germany and the Swiss round out the 10 international teams. We are scheduled for 4 fleet races on day 1, followed by 2 more on Sunday. The league awards 10 points for a win, all the way down to a single point for last. Then after all the fleet races are concluded, only the top 3 teams on points will race in a winner-take-all event final. Right now, let's have a look at today's race course with Stevie Morrison.
Well, our racetrack's on the historic Halifax Harbour, and the teams need to be behind the line as the clock counts to 0. The sprint to Mark 1 before the racecourse opens up. The F50s only go fast when they're sailing at an angle to the wind, so that's why we see them crisscross around the course, trying to find the quickest time between gates. It's a very small, close racetrack, so manoeuvring skills are going to be of the essence. If you can find a good wind shift and minimise the distance out there today, there will be opportunity to overtake, but it's going to be close, it's going to be congested. Who can finish first in front of the fans on the shore?
All right, thank you, Stevie. So our 10 international teams are ready to go racing in Halifax as they make their final preparations. We check in down on the water with Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
Todd, it is going to be an extremely difficult day for the sailors out here. It is blowing from the north, it is gusty, it is shifty. It is around 18 kilometers per hour, gusting to 38 kilometers per hour. So you can see that big range, and that's what makes it difficult because you don't want to get caught in the downrange. Configuration-wise, they've got the 24-meter all-purpose swing, but high-speed boards and rudders for those big gusts, big puffs that are coming through. So if they get a big gust, they will be ripping, and right now, there's really good wind across the racetrack. Lots of clouds around though, so the sailors will be looking at them to help navigate the course, but it is going to be an absolutely fantastic day of racing for everyone at home and everyone lining the shores here in Halifax.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa. Much more from you as the day progresses, as we come up 1:15 away from the start of race number 1 here in Halifax at the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix. So Stevie Morrison, they are in the start box or getting there shortly. The big question now with a minute to go, how do you utilize the tricky conditions that Lisa reported about to your favor?
Well, Todd, you said at the opening of the show, you said nothing is certain, and to be honest, you ain't seen nothing yet. I think this race course out here is going to be open all the way to the finish. No chickens can be counted too early, but if you can get off to a good start, that's going to be well received. Hard to predict the acceleration of the boats. I think the big point here, small foils, hard to jump up onto the foils. If you get your timing wrong, you could be really out the back, and we see Great Britain, United States well positioned, Australia and New Zealand choosing to lead the fleet back. Gives them a little bit more control, but is there going to be wind coming at the start line, or is it going to be light at the start? We've got the star there on board Canada. That's our pole predictor at the moment. The maps tell us that's the perfect place to be to lead at Mark 1, but you've got to execute from there, Phil Robertson on board Canada. Here we go, the crew start to wind it up. De La Pierre on board France towards the bottom of our screen. Germany out the back, it's going to be New Zealand, Canada and Australia. How's your timing in the middle of the line, Phil Robertson? Oh, it's a pretty picture-perfect start from Canada, but the German boat, wow! Absolutely flying through the fleet there. Perfect timing from Eric Heil. It's going to be a sprint between France and Germany towards Mark 1.
One little bit of grip, Jimmy.
And here we go, mark number 1, race number 1 from Halifax, and it looks like the Germans are going to roll over the top of the French.
Oh, France have got tactical advantage there. The Germans have got to keep clear. Todd, expect aggressive move from Contan here. He's going to keep pushing. Germany's got to keep clear. Could be good news for Spain as France and Germany are in a private battle, and we know the turn to set yourself up for gate 2 comes soon. Has De La Pierre pushed them off the course too far?
Port.
So while Germany and France get into it, Canada slides to the inside, Germany carrying almost out to the border, and Spain has inherited the lead. So the Spanish, winners of the last event in Bermuda, coming out with a beautiful start, Stevie. They get away from the fray, and now they've got open water.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be the story of the day. Look at the different angles the boats are sailing. If you're in wind, you're going to be absolutely ripping, but it's going to be easy to fall off the foils during the manoeuvres. So you need to try and manoeuvre when you've got good wind speed. And we can see at the back there, the Spanish crew setting up for another manoeuvre here at the bottom. They're going well, but I think the French will probably still be in the picture. Let's watch this manoeuvre. Yeah, there we go. Advantage France at the moment. There's probably one more manoeuvre for both boats. Don't count out the Germans just yet. They're going to be fast. Maybe straight through to gate 2, but the right of way is with France and Spain at the moment.
And France makes the turn there at gate number 2, so we'll see where they go. The Germans are coming in hot. They will split in between the French and the Spanish, and they will split the course. And it looks like Diego Botín and the Spanish will follow the French and Content de la Pierre.
Good first downwind, and here we go. Great camera angle. Look at these darker patches in the middle of our screen, Todd. Really good wind for an early manoeuvre for the Spanish boat here. Wouldn't be surprised to see them turn early. There they go, left-hand side of our screen. Spain straight into a turn. Well lined up for the wind on this upwind leg. But they're going to be coming back through the middle of the fleet, and look at some of the pre-regatta favourites. United States, New Zealand, can't even see the Australians. Some of the big names are out the back at this stage. Lisa, you're down on the water. Can you actually see, does any particular side of the course look better, or is it just really erratic on the course?
Less pressure on boundary.
Yeah, agreed.
It's super erratic out here. I think right now there is quite a little bit of pressure on the left-hand side of the racetrack, so over on the Halifax side. We know that there's two ways to win a sailboat race. That's sailing less distance or sailing more wind. Right now it looks where the Spanish and the French are going. They're going to come back on a really nice angle and be strong there. So it is really challenging out here. I'm not sure which way to go. I think we'll see it play out. Switzerland have come close to the Halifax side, but it's a battle between Spain and France right now.
And right now, the French and the Spanish are almost neck and neck. The edge going to Spain, just about 100 meters, well, less than 100 meters, probably about 50 meters ahead of the French in second. The Germans are in third. And then in fourth place, it's Emirates GBR with Giles Scott, Nathan Outridge, and the Swiss currently in fifth.
Here we go. We'll get to see some wind speeds down on the water. We can see 20 kilometres an hour roughly on the water at the moment. We can see how high the boats are flying. You can expect that ride height to be quite sort of up and down today. It's going to be hard to sail the boat smoothly. Look at the moment. At the moment, Spain have got wind and a good angle. They're sailing nearly straight up our ladder lines, and he's just reading the wind well. That manoeuvre straight after gate 2 was a good call, Bobo team. And I think something to bear in mind, Todd, if you can find maybe 2 or 3 kilometres an hour more wind speed on the water, that can turn into 6 or 7 or 8 kilometres an hour more boat speed. So I think as much as you're trying to sail less distance, my priority in my decision making out there is the wind speed. I'm looking for those dark patches and a bit more wind.
Coming up to gate number 3. This is the first race of 3 today. There'll be 2 more fleet races tomorrow, and then we will have the event final. And right now, it is Spain out in front. And Stevie, they've sailed into a low-pressure situation because it looks like they are coming off the foils.
Yeah, that's a really good point. As we come up the course, we move up towards the cityscape in front of us. So towards the right-hand side of our screen, there's some big buildings, slightly blocking the wind. So every now and again, you're going to get some gusts and lulls. At the moment, it's pretty light on board Spain, but on average, it's gone well. And have a look, the Swiss have got a boundary penalty here. That should take about 20 metres to clear, unless it was a very naughty one by Outridge. Here we go, he's trying to clear it now. Turns away from the wind. It's relative to any boat near him. He needs to lose 20 metres at the discretion of the umpire. But Nathan Outridge, no surprise to see him going well in these shifty conditions. And Giles Scott, left-hand side, Great Britain. They're back in the race. A big pressure event for Giles here. Not performed in SailGP yet. But what a fantastic upwind leg.
Just got the Germans below, Giles.
Yeah, okay, copy that.
Your Hannah Mills there is the strategist for Emirates GBR, calling it out to Giles Scott, the driver. Now Emirates GBR picking up a penalty.
It's a boundary penalty as well. That's been taking a while to be detected there by the umpires. That's why they've made that mark in 1. So a little bit cheeky by the British. Hopefully that penalty will clear fairly quickly for them. Here we go, that was the voice of Ian Jensen saying we've got to be clear. Our data tells us it's not clear just yet. That's still got the P sign up there. They've got to lose distance relative to boats near them. This could take a moment to clear. It's cleared.
It's cleared.
Okay, we're still in 2 here.
And as they continue to try to find the pressure, Lisa, we check in with you down on the water. This upside of the course is awfully messy.
After job.
It is so hard out here. These big clouds are really affecting the pressure, but where Emirates GBR are right now, where Germany are, there is so much wind. They will be going 3 times anyone else on the racetrack. Right now, we're going to see Spain and Emirates GBR come back together. I think Spain will have the slight advantage, but Emirates GBR, they're in great wind. They should be able to execute the foiling manoeuvre in this wind.
Now, look at that. They are tickling right around 75 kilometers an hour. Spain now, they're starting to get that pressure, Stevie, and they are over 70 kilometers an hour. So it's the Spanish, Emirates GBR, and Germany 1, 2, and 3. Remember, it's 10 points for a win. We've got 3 races today. So at the end of the day, Stevie, your big goal, 30 points.
Absolutely, that'll be some day on a day like this. Have a look at the leaderboard on the left-hand side, Todd. 9th Australia, 10th New Zealand.
Unbelievable.
When do you see that? And I like this on the Spanish, and we saw it upwind on the British boat as well. They're using their strategist there. So that's Nicole van Verden. She sat down on the other side of the boat. Hannah Mills was on the opposite to Giles Scott on the opposite side. It's just maximising visibility. When the wind's shifting and changing this much, you can think you're in a fairly safe situation, and suddenly there's another boat right in your windscreen, and I think it's good to see. A lot of wind for the French coming down the course, and again Spain, what a beautiful place to tack. Look, they're going to sail straight across that gust of wind, that darker patch on the water, beautifully lining up. Botín, he's reading the course well at the moment.
Gate number 4 as they make their way in here. It is Emirates GBR having a great race, and they are desperately needing points as they currently sit in 8th place overall, 17 points out of a top 3 position. And remember, the top 3 will race for $2 million when we get to San Francisco in about 2 months' time.
To be honest, for me, I think the British need to win or certainly be on the podium here to have much chance of making it. What a great shot of this breeze. Look how gusty the course is here. And we can see New Zealand out the back, but there's plenty of race left here. Another whole leg upwind. Spanish are almost half the way upwind. And you can see how low the percentages are for foiling. We're so unused to seeing that in SailGP. And that's just because these big gaps and changes in wind speed makes it really easy to fall off the foils.
And Bob's coming up with it. Just stick that in the brow.
A little bit confusing for people first time watching SailGP at the moment. Boats going in different directions. Spain, Great Britain, they're sailing back up into the wind. They're nearly a leg ahead of Burling and on the New Zealand crew there.
It's all in the left at the moment, John.
So that means there, Hannah Mills is saying there, the wind's all on the left side of the course. The wind's tending to be turned to the left and coming from the left. That's where Canada and ROCKWOOL Denmark are heading. The fans, here we are, look at the fans on the shoreline. Well, they're on the left, so that's where most of the crews are going to be going to get that more wind.
ROCKWOOL Denmark ducks in behind the Australians. Surprising to see Australia, the USA, and the Kiwis at the very back of the fleet. But that's how they sit right now. New Zealand 8th, USA 9th, and Australia 10th.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big change up, and it's a really changeable day. So there's a good opportunity to get back towards the top 5 for any of these teams here. I'd say the leading positions are gone. I mean, look at that. As soon as you're out in front, like the Spanish team are, you just get to pick your own course and sail where you want to go in clear wind, and well, it's a quality act. We saw that in the last event, and Tom Slingsby in the press conference said at this level it's all about confidence, and can't be feeling a lot more confident than coming in having won the last event.
Good right is here. All the boats are on our bow, you see them. Yes.
Tight moment here, France and Great Britain. Now the British are going to fall off the foils. As soon as they're overlapped right now, the British have to stay clear of France. De La Pierre was very kind to him there, but he didn't need to do much more. He's in a good gust of wind. He's heading right at the mark, and the wind's now rotated to the right. So expect an early turn from the French after they turn downwind here. A little stretch away, then set up to turn.
So they'll head downwind one more time, and then it's a quick right-hand turn to the finish line. Remember, it's all about points, and right now it looks like Spain is going to take the full 10. Stevie, this is where you try to minimize your losses. We always say in SailGP, there's 5 fleet races. You can have one bad race, you cannot have 2.
Yeah, and I mean, just take a look at the left-hand side of the leaderboard. Who's gone up to 5th from 8th in the last gate? They've headed out towards that wind that had turned to the right there, bottom right-hand side of our screen. Look at them go on the black foils from nowhere. They're through. It's tight with Canada, Denmark, and New Zealand. And New Zealand, if they can make it round the mark with no more turns and do a left turn here, they're going to be well set up. What an upwind leg from the black foils. Once again, Harry Houdini's pulled himself out of the flames on board that New Zealand boat.
Meanwhile, at the other end of the course, it is Spain that has made the turn, and they are now headed towards the finish line. And the win in race number 1 in Halifax goes the way of the Spanish.
Oh, that's a small little finish line, Todd. If it's tight back in the fleet, it's going to be a job to finish through that finish line. Ian Murray and his team really giving them a small target to hit there. Look in the background there, New Zealand shoot away in the fleet. A solid 5th place at the moment. Canada working their way up. De La Pierre, oh, he's a little bit loose, but great 2nd place for the French crew.
That is like threading the needle with an F50 as they come flying through. A great performance for Quentin De La Pierre and the French as they finish in 2nd. And it looks like Emirates GBR will hold on for 3rd. That's great points for them. They will pick up the 8 points for third, and Eric Heil and the Germans will finish in fourth. So, Stevie, they make that great start stick all the way for a top 4 performance.
Yeah, I was talking to their coach, Joe Glanfield, last night. Said, what were the lessons from the training day? And he said, well, try and plan ahead. And, of course, on a day like this, it's pretty hard to have a plan, but you do need to be looking ahead. So, obviously, a good debrief on that German crew. Made some nice work as we see New Zealand now.
Maybe the best save of the race.
Well, they're just so good at this comebacks at the moment, aren't they? Oh, Canada, have a look at it on board the Canadian boat. What a catch by Billy Gooderham. Just clearly trying to keep the crowd involved. It's all a bit loose on board that Canadian boat. I don't see anyone too close behind them. Oh, Phil Robertson said he was going to keep the crowd entertained, but I didn't think it was going to be quite like that.
So Canada will come through safely into 7th place. I know they wanted to get a higher finish for that for the home fans, just meters away from them. And here comes the Australians. They will finish in 9th place. I make that 8th place, actually. They've overtaken the Swiss. So it's Australia 8th. The Swiss will go to 9th.
I think these conditions really highlight the crews that can pull off the manoeuvres when you have to under real pressure. And some of these newer teams have quite got this same experience to be able to execute good manoeuvres when the pressure's really on, and probably as much as anyone there, we see the US team coming down. It's worth remembering they've changed their wing trimmer. New lineup, of course, since the team was taken over and run by Mike Buckley and Taylor Canfield. They got Jeremy Wilmot on wing trim now, so this is his first day racing, and a fairly solid day on the tools, you'd say, for your first day out here for this US crew.
Absolute baptism by fire for Jeremy Wilmot, as we say welcome to SailGP, and the Americans coming through with a unimpressive 10th here, so they will look to bounce back in a big-time way in races 2 and 3, which we will have for you just moments away. Stevie, I'm with you just how tight that finish line is. If we get more than 2 boats on a close finish, it is going to be very sporty.
Yeah, wow. Ian Murray and his team clearly trying to keep the fans happy, and well, that was some first race.
1 race down, 2 more races to go here at the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix. Well, let's talk about the moments of race number 1, Stevie. No better place to start than the start, and it was awfully spicy in the start box.
Well, it was, and we saw 4 teams with, Canada. They were the pole predictors at this stage, but out the back of the screen, Germany and France, well, they chanced their arm with a long run up here, and it was really well timed. They luckily got some gap. You can't guarantee that, but when the opportunity comes, if you got that kind of speed, what a job. They absolutely nailed the start, and it was these 2 that led away towards Part 1. Germany and France managed to cling on the inside, but it wasn't that kind of race. It wasn't decided by Mark 1, Todd.
And these are the absolute best in the world, and look at this. A big split in the fleet because it was all about Spain, France, Germany out front.
Yeah, I think big split in the fleet because you can get your head out and look for these patches of wind. That's going to be the essence of the day. So a lot of pressure on the strategists, a lot of pressure on the wing trimmers to then adapt to these changing conditions. And as the fleet went on, it was Botin that seemed to have his head out the boat really well. We saw as they came round this gate 2, we looked just towards the right-hand side of our screen there, and we see a slight darker texture on the water. That's the gust of wind that Botin found, and from then on, well, he just sailed in good breeze around the course. Would say it was building a little bit through the day, getting pretty spicy out there, Todd.
French with a nice overtake at the end to finish off with 2nd place. Stevie, let's take a look at the numbers and break this all down for us.
Well, again, Elisa said it, didn't she? You either sail fastest or you sail less distance. And the Spanish sailed less distance, and in doing less distance, they sailed there. Look at the manoeuvres, 10. They did 2 less manoeuvres than the 2nd place boat. Every time you turn the boat, you lose distance. So there you go. Spain in that race, minimise distance, minimise manoeuvres, keep it simple, stupid.
Lisa has done something that no one else has been able to do since Bermuda, and that is catch up with the Spanish. We sit it down to her on the water.
Diego, congratulations. That was a very commendable win, but just how challenging are the conditions out here?
Yeah, it's crazy. At the beginning of the day there was no wind, so we went out with the big jips. Then we changed just before we started training because a massive gust came. And yes, as you say, we just had rain in the middle of the race. So massive gust hit the race course, and it was all about getting those ones and the shifts.
I mean, how hard is it to sail when the wind is so changeable, but also you've got the smaller foils in the lulls, and trying to execute those maneuvers looks really hard.
Yeah, it's super hard, and if you add the factor that the water is 8 degrees, it's super easy to ventilate them, and we are like, all day, like trying not to ventilate. It's on the edge. It's really on the edge, and yeah, it looks windy for the next race. It's going to be interesting.
Well, you seem really calm. I guess it's trying to keep it simple on a day that's just really not that simple.
Yeah, wait until we are with all the boats around in the next race.
Yeah, I'm sure it felt pretty nice to be out in front and be able to do what you want. You sailed so much less distance than everyone else.
Yeah. We sailed a very good race, but it's really hard to repeat. We will try. If we repeat it great. If not, it's going to be a big fight.
Thanks, Diego. We'll let you debrief and get into the next one.
Thank you.
Well, confidence certainly on their side. Remember, they won the last race in Bermuda. They won the event final, and now they come into Halifax and they win the first race to start things off here. So we'll see how they fare in the next 2 races. But a great start for the Spanish. They've got all the momentum in the world. They currently sit in 3rd place overall. Fleet Race 2 is coming up shortly, and as always, the battle for 10 points will be intense. And Team Canada, they are going to need to bounce back in a big-time way. They currently sit in 7th place, 6th overall as they host a league event for the first time since coming into SailGP. But does their feisty driver, Phil Robertson, and his crew have what it takes to rise up from their humble beginnings to make a late-season charge to the grand final? And, of course, in San Francisco, the big race for $2 million on the line come July.
I guess I started SailGP in season 1 and then with the Chinese team. That evolved into the Spanish team.
We have a new leader in SailGP season 2 with Phil Robertson in the Spanish.
I left that team and joined the Canadian team when they came online from season 3 onwards.
Not bad, eh?
Putting the team together, it's a challenge. It's really difficult. I didn't know any Canadian sailors. To be frank, and sailing in Canada is not a popular sport. There's not a big pool to pick from, and yeah, we sort of put the applications out, said apply if you want to come and join the team. We got a bunch and sort of went through CVs as a normal business would do probably, and then sort of picked the top 20 people and trialled a bunch of them and ended up with the team we have now.
That's a pretty good move.
If you don't have a good mix of experience and some newbies on board, then you're not going to learn very fast, so it's going to take a long time to sort of get up to speed, and you see that in a few teams here now. But yeah, experience is everything in this sport of sailing. I'm a fighter, you know. I've never had an easy run in my career, and to get to where I've got to has not been handed on a silver platter, to be frank. And look, that sort of read my attitude, I guess, to it. I've got to be fighting to get to where I want, and it's the same on the race course. I think if you sort of are passive and, you know, just sort of, you'll get pushed around. So you can't be passive in this world. You've got to be aggressive, and I think people know it as well. They come near us, they're in for a fight. I think we're in good shape commercially as well. We've got to find more partners to keep this thing going, and it's great for Canada what this team is doing in terms of the sport of sailing.
Robertson just needs to stay fast. He slingshots around the outside. Brilliant by Robertson.
To make the final, we need to be on the podium in the next 2 events. I think we're in a strong spot, and our team is fired up for this week. They're pumped. There are so many people out here supporting us, and I think it's cool. The team sort of gets this little bit of special juju and gets lifted, and yeah, it's I'm really excited for this weekend to see what we can do out there.
Well, sailing is not the only sport taking center stage in Halifax. Of course, they are known for their prowess on the ice. Billy Goodrum gets in between the pipes and let the folks take shots on him. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter if it was on ice or on land. This guy knows his stuff as he held off a bunch of wicked shots, kept him out of the pipe. But when the pressure was really on, it's when none other than Justin Beaver came on board and got one past Billy and put it into the net. Justine, well done, like the lamp. And not only on the hockey, Justine Beaver got it done sailing Canada's boat. I don't think we realize how expensive that boat is to turn it over to their mascot. That was a very brave move. We'll see if Canada can bounce back. They'll need some points. Maybe Justine Beaver will be the lucky one because they finished in 7th place in race number 1, and they're going to be much better than that. Race number 2 coming up from Halifax.
Okay, so let's get started. Why is Diego and why are the Spanish team better than Canada at the moment?
That's a good question. The difference between them winning the event and coming last in the event was probably about the size of a shucker. They were that close to hitting the French team on the last turning mark. So it was pretty rude what they did, I think. Just sat on port and ignored all the basic rules of sailing.
Oh my word!
Diego was very good at sitting stone-faced behind you for most of that answer.
I got a smile there, I got a smile.
The Spanish team, what a great victory last month at the Apex Bermuda Sail Grand Prix. Nikolai, you are another team that could benefit if Spain doesn't perform in Halifax. Are you guys in with a shot of reaching the grand final in San Francisco?
You know, 9 points is not that much in 3 events. We almost lost 15 in one event together with Tom in Australia. So yeah, a lot of stuff can still happen, and I don't think Spain has too many friends the next 3 events out there.
Talk to Tom for just a moment. Were you surprised that the U.S. team wasn't docked any points for their incident, considering you guys were so heavily punished for your crash in New Zealand?
Yeah, I was, actually. We were deemed to be doing reckless sailing, and through a mistake of our own, had serious damage to our boat.
You know, it's out there that a wrong button was pressed, and, you know, when you're pushing hard and you make a mistake, it can be often catastrophic.
They got serious damage, but 0 penalty points. I don't care what the rule is, as long as it's consistent, and it hasn't been consistent.
Peter, some have said that you were given a huge gift when Australia was docked 8 points in Christchurch.
It didn't feel like a gift when our wing fell down in Saint-Tropez and we went from 1st to 8th in that event, missed the next event. So that was actually the gift to give them the head start in the first place.
This whole league is a confidence thing. Once you get the best sailors in the world all on the one start line, it's really who's feeling confident and who's got that right team culture and mentality and how they blend together and perform on the day.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
Spain has won the first event here at the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix in Halifax. We are getting ready for race number 2, and of course we'll have a third fleet race with 10 points on the line for each race. So the Spanish in a good place right now as the fans get themselves into a great viewing position. Stevie, these fans getting themselves a great show tape. Might be a little chilly on June 1, but they are ready for some great racing. Let's take a look at some of the analysis that we saw from that first race.
Yeah, I mean, tricky race course out there, isn't it? What we saw for sure is that the start's still quite crucial. If you can get in good shape to gate 2, you're in brilliant position. But I think what's interesting later on is if you can do a left turn and get into this space towards what we call the right-hand side of the course, just tends to be a little bit more space to open up options heading up the course. And as you get to gate 3, that cityscape at the top of the course is making it real wacky races up there. It's a bit like Super Mario Kart at the top of the course there. Plenty of big gusts of wind if you can pick them. So yeah, tricky race course for the crews to get used to, but we did see opportunity aplenty, and it's going to be about that accuracy and manoeuvring. So heads out the boat, strategists and wing trimmers day.
There is the race course here in Halifax, Nova Scotia, as SailGP makes its first visit to the Great White North. There are the Canadians. As we said, they finished 7th in the first race, and they'll need a much better performance in the next 2 races, which we will have for you shortly. Short time ago, Lisa Darmanin caught up with their skipper, Phil Robertson, down on the water.
Phil, we're out here. It's cold, it's shifty, it's windy, and there are so many Canadians on the shore cheering you on. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's obviously pretty epic. Yeah, I don't think we've seen crowds like this, and yeah, the enthusiasm from the spectators as well is second to none. So yeah, it's pumped. We're stoked to have the home crowd behind us for once, and yeah, it's shifty, it's difficult, and it's windy, but hey, we're sailors. We should be able to adapt to it. So it's good action.
7th in the first race. Obviously, you want to get off that start line, but what's the key to be able to get in front on this one?
Oh, it's really difficult. The shifts are huge, and the puffs are, the difference in the breeze strength over the course is big as well. So, yeah, it'd be nice to be first at Mark 1 and be able to choose where you go. But look, it's just trying to keep it simple, even though it's so complicated. So that's the plan.
All right, well, we'll let you go debrief for the team. I'm loving the coat as well, staying warm.
Yeah, it's good. It's not bad, this one. All right, cheers.
As we will see what they can do in the next race. Before we get to that, remember, it's 10 points for win all the way down to 1 point for last place. So let's give you a little 101 on how SailGP does their scoring in these races. At the end of the season, the winning team will lift the SailGP Season 4 Championship trophy and claim their share of $7 million. But how does it all work? Our scoring system awards points for each race that teams compete in across a race event. The top 3 teams with the most points will face off at the event final. One final race in order to determine who takes the event title and battle it out for maximum points towards the season standings. 10 to the winner, 9 for second, and 8 for third. 4th to 10th place are awarded season points based on their position from only the fleet races. These points are crucial for the season-long championship leaderboard. The championship leaderboard is recalculated after each event, and the 3 highest-ranked teams at the end of the season qualify for the winner-take-all grand final. So that's how the scoring works. Everyone trying to get in the top 3 position in San Francisco, and then it'll be the battle for $2 million. So we come up on 90 seconds to go before the start of race number 2, and we've got the Spanish looking very good.
The course for race 2 is 7 legs. The axis is 000. Wind is approximately 32 kilometers per hour.
All right, so there is your race setup. Stevie doesn't change a whole lot. Lisa Darman has reported about the shifting going on down there. It's just got to be all in the strategists and the flight controllers to figure out how to find that pressure.
Yeah, I think absolutely. It's really about sailing the boats accurately, which is pretty hard out there today, to be perfectly honest.
1 minute to go before the start of race number 2. Winners of race number 1, Spain, France, and GBR, your top 3. So they get 10, 9, and 8 points respectively. Dismal performances from Australia, Switzerland, and the USA, bringing up 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Yeah, and I think what's going to become a factor through the day, Todd, is on a gusty, shifty day like this, the grinders have got to work a lot hard. They're the ones on the big handles at the front, 2 of them working together, but they're pulling in that big wing sail. And of course, it's the United States have gone for a slightly different strategy. They've got Anna Weiss on the handles with Mike Buckley at the back, which it takes, you know, it's a bit of a different way of going about it. A lot of the teams have got big sort of 100-kilo power units, and that's kind of key in these things. Here we go. Pole position predictor at the moment. We see on board Denmark, bottom of the line, New Zealand and Spain fighting hard for this end. France looking for a slingshot in, right-hand side of our screen. Has he got his timing right? It's going to be hard for Spain and New Zealand to accelerate. Here come the French. They're coming in hot. De La Pierre, is there room? It's going to be marginal. I think there is. Oh, he's driving it like he stole it. Quentin De La Pierre, have a look at it. What a job. He snaked his way through. New Zealand have accelerated in time. Should be able to hang on to second place, but what a start by the French.
Quentin De La Pierre with nerves of steel as they approach mark number 1. He will take the whole shot here in race number 2 with the Danes in second and the Kiwis in third.
Oh, look at the Australians, Todd. They've flown too high. They're off the foils. Waterhouse pushing too hard on board the Australian boat. They're going to be out the back of the fleet here with work to do. They're full of water as we see France, ROCKWOOL, Denmark, and it's Spain. First to turn away from the fleet. That worked well for them in race 1. Has Bottin spotted more wind?
Yeah, turning on me, set. Good.
Spain in the mix right now. It is Denmark and France on the left side of your screen with the Kiwi short behind.
Here we go. Looks like Bottin thinks he can get there in 1. He's hoping to make it down. He's got the rights over New Zealand on the inside, but he will be slower. ROCKWOOL, Denmark, they round gate 2 in the lead. Quentin De La Pierre, what a start. He's still very much in this in second as we see Spain round on the inside, but they're going to have to keep clear of the New Zealand crew. Expects an aggressive turn. Oh, nice work by the New Zealand crew there, and Spain are now going to be slow.
So Spain decides to squeeze it, push it on gate number 2, and they go from third now. They drop all the way back. It's showing 7th on the board as Nikolai Sehested and the Danes are out in front with ROCKWOOL, Denmark. France sits in second.
Yeah, that's because Phil Robertson turned right, and we could see just before we cut away, the Canadians were in great breeze. Australia back up and foiling, but they're in 9th. There we go. Look, Canada, they're sailing across a really nice gust of wind, and that looks like a good gain for Phil Robertson and his crew. New Zealand does have the right of way over Canada, so Robertson needs to watch out for that, but he's back in the race.
This is leg 3 of 7, race number 2 with one more fleet race still to come. 10 points on the line. We go down on the water. Lisa, how have the conditions changed, if anything, from race number 1?
The conditions are just as challenging out here, Todd, but one thing to think about is obviously we've got to go faster, we've got to sail less distance out here, but the forces are always changing, the power. So not only are the wing trimmers and the grinders working really hard, but for the flight controllers, we're seeing a lot of up and down, because when there's more wind, all of a sudden the foils, they want to go faster, and they've got to manage that as well. So from front to back of the boat, there is so much crew work going on, and it's absolutely insane racing out here, and it's a little bit tighter than we saw in the previous race, so it's going to be a tight top gate here.
I think that's such an interesting point, Todd. You think of a car race, and you start the race in your car, you've got 500 brake horsepower, and you've got that the whole race. But if you get a gust of wind out here, you've got 1,000 brake horsepower. Look at the wind speed differences there, 6-7 kilometres now at different wind speed. It's making big differences to the boat speed, so suddenly you find more wind, you've got 200-300 horsepower more. Find less wind, of course, you're struggling for horsepower. So that's the difference with these sailing races. There's a lot of opportunity to make gains and losses, and right now, Canada perfectly in phase with the wind. They've moved from 5th to 2nd so far on this upwind leg, but we know the top third of the upwind leg is the crucial part, because there's plenty of opportunity for banana skins.
Stevie, if you're in the back of the pack though and you're seeing these top teams getting that turbo or nitrous boost, are you saying, okay, that's eventually going to come to us, or have they just sailed into the better pressure?
Well, that is something. You can learn a lot of the course from those boats ahead of you, but the problem you've got is if you're following behind, you're in disturbed, turbulent wind. So if you're in 2 or 3 kilometres less wind because the boats ahead are disturbing it, that's less horsepower that you can get.
Surprised to see Spain, the winners of the first event. They are currently in 8th place as they make their way around this next gate. They are on to leg 4 now, are the Great Danes and Nikolai Sæsted, ROCKWOOL, Denmark, in desperate need of points. They currently sit in 4th place, 9 points out of that 3rd and final position in the final.
Tight cross by Phil Robertson on board Canada. I think he was clean, but he's off the foils. So great upwind leg, but they're off the foils on Canada. And the black foils, well, they're up to 2nd. No mistakes so far from Burling and his crew as ROCKWOOL Denmark, well, they're checking out downwind. It's tight in the pack here. Great Britain have got the inside, but I think he's going to try and save a manoeuvre. So Bottine is back up into this race, showing us 5th at the moment. Really tight with the French. Quentin de la Pierre, great starts, but they're struggling to find a quick route round the course.
Yeah, the voice is elevated just a little bit. That is on board France. They are currently in 5th. They finished 2nd in the first race. It is Nikolai Sæsted of Denmark way out in front. We're talking 300 plus meters. Then it is the Kiwis in 2nd, and here comes Phil Robertson and the home team Canadians.
Really tight. What a job by ROCKWOOL Denmark. Fantastic sailing and good breeze. Diego told us how when you're out in front, it's a little bit easier to sail your own course. But of course, it's still hard to actually do that. So good execution by this Danish crew. Let's watch this manoeuvre. Listening in on board the Danish boat.
1. Yours. I will. Yep. Coming up.
Just very calm there. The transfer between Tom Johnson, the wing trimmer, who takes the wheel. So let Nikolai run across. Nikolai just said my rake. So that means Raz can come running up on board now to take the flight control. Here we go.
2, 1, turning up.
See how quickly they go from manoeuvre to next manoeuvre. That choreography, that tempo of conversation. Really, really nice on board the Danish boat.
Yeah, body pass. Stand by.
Gate number 4, it is the Danes. Their lead continues to grow. Here comes Peter Burling and the Kiwis. They sit in 2nd place, 99%. That's how long they've been foiling Stevie, almost the entire race. And here come the Canadians, and the rest of the fleet really closing the gap quite a bit on that last leg.
Yeah, often if you go around the course and you get to the Windward Mark, the top end of the course, top right corner of our screen there, and you get there and there's not much wind, if the boats come round after you and there is wind, well, there's not a lot you can do about that. They're going to catch you up. So, you know, that's definitely what's happened. That was really tight, France and Germany. I'd be surprised if there wasn't a protest there. That was... Oh, we see Stuart Biffle on board Germany saying protest. They're asking the question of the umpires. That's got real messy for the Germans there, because they were right in the race.
Penalty France, relative Germany, port attack boat not keeping clear.
Yeah, I really agree. That was a blatant foul for me, that was really blatant. The French have got to drop back behind the Germans, but the Germans are going to be full of water right now. Another great shot here. Camera angle looks good as we see New Zealand sailing straight across that big dark patch of water. They're well lined up for the breeze. Canada are about to get it. Canada have the right of way against New Zealand, but I don't think they're going to be close enough to make that count on the black foils. Well, they closed up some distance on Sæsted.
No question.
ROCKWOOL Denmark's under pressure from the charging New Zealand boat right now.
Kiwis able to pass in front of Canada safely, and look at this, less than 100 meters between 1st and 2nd. It's Denmark and New Zealand going 1 and 2 here in race number 2.
listening on board the New Zealand boat, and we see if we can hear what Burling's strategy is for the top of the course.
It's starting to build now on us. Yeah. Want to go back in it, or can it come quick? Yeah. Okay, sorry, put down.
Yeah, they're going to go back in. They feel like they've got into new wind. They want to take a manoeuvre. They're going to turn through the wind, sail across it the other way, and try and stay in that gust of wind as long as possible. Big split on the race course now. Here we go. Look at the differences in the foiling. Denmark, picture perfect foiling so far, but they show us 100 metres ahead. It's going to come down to who's found more wind at the top of the course. Right of way is with New Zealand, but are they close enough to pressure Denmark? I don't think so. Looks like Sehested's found a lovely angle. Wind's rotated to the left on him, and they look like they're going to be clear ahead.
At gate number 5, it is New Zealand closing in on the Great Dane, Nikolai Sehested. The lead about 100 meters. And then Spain, who was back in 5th, have moved up to 3rd, the winners of the first race. Canada's dropped to 4th. Emirates GBR now in 5th. And Stevie, as they make the turn here at gate number 5, it is all going to be on who's going to pick the right side of the course.
Yeah, crucial decision now, Todd. Pretty much decisions are set here. We're probably going to see a left turn for Sehested, and we're going to see a right turn for Burling. There's going to be leading still Sehested, but it's all going to depend on where the most wind is after the mark. As we see New Zealand, they're off the foils. They've got to re-accelerate there. It's less wind at the top here. I think this is going to turn into a big lead for ROCKWOOL Denmark. New Zealand are going to struggle to foil again here. And in fact, Canada could be a problem here. Canada and Spain on the inside of New Zealand. New Zealand's just going to creep around. Spain and Canada, there's a bit of history there. Don't expect to see Robertson be very kind to Botin here. Here we go. Canada winds it up. Spain must keep clear.
Canada with so much more speed, they blow right past the Spanish, push them back to 4th place. Meanwhile, it's Peter Burling now going into open water. He is firmly in 2nd place, and he'll try to reel in Nikolai Sehested as they head down to this final gate, and then it's a quick right-hand turn, and right now the lead back up to 200 meters for Denmark.
Here we go. Good work by ROCKWOOL Denmark. Look at here. We've got here wind speed. Oh, there's more wind on Denmark. Good news for Denmark. They're going to be going faster. They're definitely going faster than 1 kilometre an hour. I can tell you that for free. But they got 3 kilometres more wind on ROCKWOOL Denmark. Sehested's read this final downwind well. Katja has one last look around on the back there. She's got her eyes on the New Zealand crew, but she's going to like what she sees. There's only one more manoeuvre for the Danish crew. New Zealand are going to have to do 2 more before the bottom of the course.
Stevie, you look at these 2 teams going 1 and 2, Denmark and New Zealand, and maybe the calmest of all the crews. Their comms on board under pressure are always about the same.
Really good tempo chat. But I think I think that interview that Lisa had with Diego is so insightful. If you're out in front, it's easy to have that tempo right to make your decisions. But when you've got people in front of you making the decisions you wish you could make, it's very hard to stay as calm. You've suddenly got to go plan B, plan C, plan D. It gets pretty hard. Denmark are running plan A the whole way round this course. Done a nice job, executed very well. Hats off to them. And it's Diego Botin. He's chasing down on the right-hand side of our screen, but it looks like ROCKWOOL's going to bring it.
Get out in front and stay out in front. That was the plan, and Denmark stuck to it. Race number 2 goes the way of the Great Dane and ROCKWOOL Denmark. Peter Burling and the Kiwis, the Black Foils, they will take 2nd place. Good race for them to back up with the 5th they got in the first race. Denmark, remember, got a 6th and now a 1st. And Phil Robertson from 7th to 3rd for Canada.
They have it's really tight at the bottom here. Emirates Great Britain, Slingsby in 6th, could get back in here. Spain needs to give room to the British, but the Spanish can expect to be faster. Botin has played that beautifully. It's going to be hard for the Brits to stay. Oh, but the Spanish get a little loose. Britain get very loose. Can they keep the speed? Here come the Roos. They're going to look to go round the outside. I think the Roos could get round. It's going to be really close. Who's going to get it on the finish? Oh, that's photo finish there for me. Wow, that was so tight as we see Switzerland and France. A lot of the boats getting loose at the bottom. France got to keep clear. Switzerland get round the French. Delapierre, disaster really. I mean, first at Mark 1 and gone. What a start in that race, but he's out the back. And Germany as well, they dropped back to 9th. They're going to be disappointed. They were right in that race. And well, for the United States, another tough day at the office so far.
This is the umpires. Penalty Switzerland, relative France, no room at the mark. Not entitled to room at the mark.
So the official word is that Switzerland fouls France, so that means France will take 7th, bumping Switzerland back to 8th.
Yeah, the Swiss tried to dive inside at the bottom end of this finish line here, and had they got an overlap, had they come alongside the French boat sooner, they would have been entitled to room, but they did it too late, too aggressive, and they've been adjudged to a foul. So yeah, one place drop back there for the Swiss.
Stay tuned in for a little bit here, guys. Yeah, got you. My way. Stand by.
And the USA will cross the line. They will finish 10th for the second race in a row. Still learning men. Remember, they bring on a new wing trimmer in Jeremy Wilmot. Taylor Canfield still putting this team together and trying to get exactly what he wants from this crew. We'll see if they can put it together in the third and final race here in Halifax. Well, Stevie, let's go back and take a look at race number 2 and pick your pleasure. But man, you can't get better than the start from Content de la Pierre and the French.
Well, no, we see Spain and New Zealand fighting for what's been the favoured end of the line, this downwind end. It's a bit closer to Mark 1. But yeah, look at the French. Here he comes. Winds it up with 7 seconds to go, doing probably 3 times the speed here. And well, he just zigzagged the boat, trying to keep himself behind the line, timed it absolutely beautifully, and was just extending away from here. I mean, he was so fast towards Mark 1. So yeah, fantastic start by the French, but we've seen the hub, you know, it's not the whole story really during these races, Todd. You can get a good start, but mistakes happen even to the very, very best there. We see a little luff into the wind by the Swiss on Tom Slingsby. He got loose, got to the back of the pack, and the Spanish at the bottom here, they got a little bit slow. They tried to dive inside. They probably did do a little bit of a distance gain on that downwind leg, but it got pretty messy for them.
And then the Germans dive in, Stevie. They had a great start as well. They've had a good day racing, especially in race number 1. Race number 2, they fell off the pace.
Well, they did well, and I think it's one of those things you can get affected by other boats. I mean, it was Germany and France earlier on, but it was sort of even to the finish. There was a lot of action with boats doing a poor rounding at the bottom there. Switzerland were too late trying to dive through there, got penalised.
Doesn't get much closer than that. At the finish line, we now go down on the water. Lisa Darmanin has caught up with the Great Dane. ROCKWOOL, Denmark, the winners of race 2.
Nikolai, well done on that race. Once again, another challenging one. Weren't quite first to Mark 1, but managed to get first to gate 2 and control from there.
Yeah, that was a good race. It's super tricky out here, and yeah, we did the one mistake you can't do is be next to US in the first start, and it always ends up in the Mets race. So we just decided to do our own thing here, and that worked well for us.
And you had a pretty tough start in the first race and obviously bounced back. But what are the other real key things to be able to get around this racetrack clear ahead?
I think it's just accepting you're going to take some losses. Like, you're not going to get all the shifts, so you guys just got to get, I'd say 60% will probably give you a good result. It's super hard, and it's so gusty in strength as well, and it's probably the hardest boat handling day we had for a long time. It might look easier because we're foiling, but it's very dynamic crew work to keep foiling in these on and off puffs and shifts.
I was saying in the commentary before, from the front to the back, everyone's probably working in overtime.
Yeah, I think we all got brain frying at times, just trying to see what's coming next, but also having the setup, because we don't have enough hydraulic pressure to actually change the setup instantly when the puff hits us. So you got to be a little bit ahead of the settings with the wing and the jib and the foils when the puff hits you. And yeah, we're just trying to be really in sync with that, but it's not easy.
Thanks, Nikolai. Good luck for the next one, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
So Denmark able to back up a 6th place performance in race number 1. They come back with a victory. So a very nice bounce back for them with one more race to go. Remember, it's 10 points for a win, all the way down to 1 point for last. So let's take a look at the numbers after 2 races. With that in mind, the 2 winners have been Spain and Denmark. How consistent were they in that other race? Well, Spain has a 1 and a 4, so Stevie, that puts them on top with 17 points. ROCKWOOL, Denmark, 2 points back in 15, even with New Zealand, who have a 5 and a 2. But you look towards the bottom, I am just shocked to see Australia down there with an 8 and a 6.
Yeah, struggling on board the Australian boat, aren't they, at the moment? They've not quite found their straps just yet, but this, you know, they're a team that can turn it around if anyone can. I think, you know, for a lot of teams hoping to get in that top 3, to see Spain in 3rd, that's, leading, big moment.
They are packed in on the waterfront here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And I want to remind you the season standings after 10 events. It has been a great show so far. Remember, we still have 2 more events coming after this one, New York City and, of course, San Francisco. But after 10 events, your black foils of New Zealand with 77 points lead the way. Then it's Australia, the triple-time champions, and the defending champions in second, Spain in third. And that's where the line is 65, and they've got a 9-point lead over ROCKWOOL, Denmark, so we'll see what happens. Well, the season standings after 10 events are very impressive. We'll see what happens, and we'll see if Tom Slingsby's words live to be prophetic of what he said in Abu Dhabi.
To be frankly honest, I think some of the younger generation haven't stepped up to the plate as much as they could have, and they've got to prove it.
I think, yeah, that helped us also a little bit to put some fire on us and yeah, give us this push to work more.
What a season for Spain. New driver Diego has really stepped up and he's now got the grand final well within his grasp.
To be really honest, I think if we keep working the same way, we can compete and face the top teams in the league.
And give it up for the Spanish. They will claim the victory here in Bermuda.
Amazing moment for this Spanish, stealing the win from the Australians and the New Zealanders.
We did a very good final in Bermuda and we proved ourselves that we can do very good things, but also we need to improve on our consistency.
Here they are, they've put on an absolute masterclass, because if you beat Tom Slingsby and that Australian crew and Peter Burling and his New Zealand crew in the final, you're the real deal.
We're starting to define our ethos, our identity, trying to get everybody to feel a deep sense of belonging to something that is probably a higher purpose than just racing and winning.
And for the first time in SailGP history, the young team from Spain will bring it home, and they will claim the victory here in Los Angeles.
Diego, he got thrown in the deep end. We had 3 events before the start of this season with him on the wheel already driving, which were crucial for us because it takes some time. He's been leading the team into a very good position. I think the general feeling in the team is that we're in great hands in that sense.
So Slinger, any regrets making those comments?
No regrets. I think, yeah, for at least the Spanish, they really took it the right way, and I think since then the worst result has been a 4th place. So you're welcome. It's exciting to see Diego and his guys really have taken the opportunity they've got here, and yeah, they're a force to be reckoned with.
The Spanish are definitely the hottest team in SailGP right now, but as Justine Bieber gets the fans all fired up for the 3rd and final race, despite the cool temperatures here in Halifax, they are ready to go. They have found any viewing spot possible on the shorefront here in Halifax for the 3rd and final race today. Remember, 2 more fleet races tomorrow before the event final and a champion is crowned. We've got a beautiful setting today as we bring to close the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix.
Great opportunity for the Spanish here. You're up against the big guns. Let's see what you got.
Okay, full speed. Yeah, let's go. We are kind of late, eh?
Yes. No more. Straight at the line, mate.
Yeah.
It's go here, the Spanish. What a move. They've slung onto the inside, timed it well. Fastest angle with New Zealand. But the Spanish have the tactical inside position. New Zealand are going to have to open the afterburners from here.
Right away in 5, 3, 2, 1. Down. Very fast mode. Which mark is favored, Cardonio? With the shift and everything, this is what we need to think about.
And there are the wind speeds. The Spanish are in better brace and a better shift there.
I remember it was an 8-second difference at gate 2. Already the black foils have, well, it's got to be down to 2 seconds at most there.
Looks like we have some really nice games. I think we need to go with this pressure. We're not crossing. Okay.
Good angle of the wind for Spain at the moment. They're sailing nicely up the ladder lines, but right away with New Zealand in the background, they get a little high. Ooh, good catch. The Spanish are going to have to think about this. Do they turn in front of Spain? I think you try and turn in front of New Zealand if you can.
Very lot of speed.
They still continue. I have eye over them.
Don't on the girls with them.
Absolutely neck and neck at that bottom mark there. 1 second in it.
All good. No rush, okay? No rush. We're ahead. Looking at 65.
Not too much, eh?
Botín and Trittle have absolutely nailed this one. They've put a brilliant race together after a perfect start.
Diego Botín comes around this last mark. Winners in Los Angeles, and give it up for the Spanish. They will claim the victory here at Bermuda.
Oh, vamos de gallas.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
The province of Nova Scotia has an impressive 6 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, 16 National Historic Sites, and 2 national parks. It's a nature and action sport paradise with 13,000 kilometers of epic coastline. You can enjoy the coastal gastronomy on the seafood-centric culinary trails while relaxing in the breathtaking scenery. Nova Scotia has something for everyone. We've still got one more fleet race today and then 2 more tomorrow before the event final. That's only the top 3 teams before we wrap things up here for the first visit of the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix in Halifax. Want to remind you, coming up June 22nd and 23rd, SailGP gets into a New York state of mind as it heads to the Big Apple. The Mubutla Sail Grand Prix returns to New York with a brand new racetrack on the Hudson River.
And 10 boats here charged to on the start line on the Hudson River, and it's Spain that break the line first, and they're going to lead to Mark 1.
The grandstands on Governor's Island will be within touching distance of the start and finish line. The 10 world-class teams will race away from the cheering crowd, whilst the global TV coverage on the big screens bring the story to life with its Emmy Award-winning live-line graphics. The Adrenaline Lounge offers world-class hospitality right at the heart of the action. And just along the breakwater at Race HQ, the team's coaches will be finding any advantage using the Oracle Cloud and direct communication to their athletes. If you want to be part of the action on site, check out SailGP's website for more information. Looking forward to getting to New York City and racing on the iconic Hudson. We are just moments away from the 3rd and final fleet race of the day here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Stevie Morris and Todd Harris, Lisa Darmanin with you. Stevie, before we get to the next race, let's go back to fleet race number 2, because that start, I cannot believe how brave Content Delapierre was. He was waiting for the reaction of Pete Burling and Diego Botín to decide out where he's going. Am I going left? Am I going right?
Yeah, I mean, he came in hot, didn't he? And really sent it in pretty fast there, wiggled his way through, and, well, he just got the timing absolutely perfect. There's always a little bit of luck in that, you know, good judgment, judged it really well coming in. But yeah, it was pretty rogue stuff.
With these conditions, though, getting the whole shot in the start does not guarantee you a win, because France, even though they got that beautiful start, they finished in 7th.
Yeah, well, and I think that's been a little bit the story of the French in the last few days. You know, they've had these great starts, but it happened a little bit in Bermuda, happened a little bit here. Look at this on board France. Look at that, absolutely driving it like he stole it through the gap there. A bit more Grand Theft Auto than anything else, I'd have said, as he came in there, took contact, but he seemed pretty happy with that stuff. Yeah, it's not where you start, it's where you finish, isn't it, Todd? And it was still pretty messy for a lot of the fleet come the finish. The British there got a little loose. They're all trying to do a late turn up. They were all getting a bit slow into that bottom mark, having to do a turn at the mark and then spin up into the wind. And it's that turn through the 90 degrees angle to the wind where you've got the most power on available. And if you're going slow, that power hits a lot harder there. And a lot of the boats getting pretty messy. Plenty for the crews to work on. If I'm coaching those people out there, I'm saying let's be proactive, not reactive. Let's see what's going to come next and be ready for it. Easier said than done, but that's why we're sat here, isn't it, Todd? We get to see it from off the boat. You've got to see these things coming a little bit. It's getting pretty loose there, as we see. He's born to be wild, Luke Parkinson, down on the left-hand side of the screen there. But flight control are doing a fantastic job of staying calm under pressure. Got that British boat back and foiling.
Well, isn't it ironic, once again, that New Zealand goes from 5th to 2nd? Can they do it again in the 3rd race? Earlier, Lisa Darmanin caught up with the Kiwis.
Pete, Liv, it's looking really challenging out here. What's the hardest part about getting around the racetrack?
Yeah, I hope at least it looks challenging. It is pretty challenging, super shifty. it doesn't feel like we're sailing very well at all, but managed to get a couple of good scores on the board. So it's all about just keeping in the pressure. It's huge gains and losses in that.
Liv, it's so shifty that I'm trying to spot all the boats around the track. What angle they're sailing must be pretty hard. How are you feeling about it all?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very dynamic day out here. It's there's a lot going on, but fortunately we've got the coaches booth and a lot of eyes going on. So it's it's definitely interesting, and hopefully it's good to watch.
And how do you use that coaches booth? Obviously they're getting all the data, and they've got a little bit of eyes out as well, trying to predict the future.
Yeah, I mean, they have some great tools in there and really good comms to us on board, so really fortunate to have them, and it's a great tool on a day like today, for sure.
And Pete, that start is always critical. You want to get out in front and really sail your own race, but what sort of style start is working in this puffy conditions? So I guess you don't know what gust you're going to have it go.
Yeah, well, the last two starts, someone's led from foiling through from the back, but we've just more tried to be consistent in the front row. I think anywhere in the middle at Mark 1's good enough. You just got to hook up a good beat and you'll be in good shape.
And how are you feeling overall day? You say you didn't feel like you're sailing that well, but just quickly, what would be a keeper this race?
Well, we're always going for the win, but I don't know. It just depends how well you get off the line. If you get off the line well, you're definitely trying to be right at the front. If you back a little bit more, you're trying to pick off a few. So, anything above the middle, I think would be pretty happy going into tomorrow.
Thanks, Pete. Good luck and have a good one. Thanks, Liv.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Liv and Peter, for the Kiwis all ready to go. And there are the 10 international teams here of SailGP Season 4. This is the 11th stop, and we are less than 90 seconds away from the third and final fleet race of the day. All right, Stevie, there's really no tried and true place to be as we come up on 1:10 to go of where to be in that start box. Content de la Paire has shown us that you can be in the very back if you can thread the needle. And other people have said, you know what, let's just get ourselves right in the middle, like Pete was telling Lisa just minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think, what's quite impressive is a lot of these boats are hitting the line at around 70 kilometres an hour. Basically means you're hitting the line travelling at 19 metres per second as you come in there, and they're within a metre or so of the line, so they are within tenths of a second to when they hit the start line. And we see now great big gust of wind coming down, so it's going to be a good opportunity to accelerate here. I do think if you're back early, it's more conservative, good chance of a safe start. Those people out the back, they're rolling the dice a bit, they're hoping there's going to be a gap. And a lot of people will tell you hope's not a great strategy. But Canada up the line now, they're hoping for a fast angle in towards gate mark number 1. New Zealand, Australia, they turn back. It looks like Germany, Great Britain and Switzerland, they're really early here. They're going to have to kill a lot of speed.
And look United States. Spain is.
Spain and United States are late, that's for sure. New Zealand are up and foiling. Australia are up and foiling. Don't see much of a gap for New Zealand. Oh, he's trying to thread the needle. Have a look at Peter Burling. How's your timing at the bottom of the line here, Australia? Coming in hot. Oh, brilliant by Slingsby. Absolute perfection.
OCS penalty over the line early. Switzerland and Germany.
They need to drop out the back. It's a big gust of wind coming in towards Mark 1 here. Canada and Denmark are really fast. The Australians hold the tactical advantage. Denmark must keep clear. Canada must keep clear. Slingsby's going to lead, and Burling and New Zealand are going to be fourth, chasing down ROCKWOOL, Denmark and Canada, but the Kiwis will have the opportunity to manoeuvre away to gate 2 first. Here go the Aussies.
At mark number 1, the team that maybe needs a great win here the most, the Aussies. 3-time champions in SailGP. They have had a terrible regatta so far in 8th and in 6th on the first 2 races.
They're really well lined up there, though, Todd. It's funny, I had my heart in my mouth. Were they going to nail a good manoeuvre? When do you ever think that about the Australians? But it's been that kind of day for them. But here they go. Look how high they're flying, that Australian boat. But it might not be high enough, because ROCKWOOL Denmark are on the inside coming into gate 2 here. And if they stay overlapped, if the Danish can stay alongside, look at this gap. They look like they're overlapped to me. Maybe just in time broken by Australia. That's tight. Really tight. He's given them room. Slingsby thought they were overlapped. Sehested think he didn't have enough room. Wow, what a tight moment in the race there. Now ROCKWOOL must keep clear of Australia.
Heard Nikolai Sehested call for the protest. Nothing so far from Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell as Denmark maintains the lead. They will turn away from the Aussies.
Tom Slingsby will say I gave him room to get a double-decker bus through there. It didn't look like a lot of room to me, but Slingsby knows how to judge that pretty well. And here are the Germans. They're a bit slow. They're a bit loose coming round the bottom here, and the Swiss are going to slide round the outside oh so quickly as the boats start moving away upwind. It looks like Phil Robertson's found good wind early on this upwind leg, but Denmark, they have the right of way coming in from the right-hand side of our screen. Wind over the right-hand side of the boat. Canada dip behind them, and it's Slingsby. Looks like he's got the lead to me on those ladder lines. Beautiful angle up the course for the Australians, and they've got that boat going fast again.
This is leg 3 of 7, the third and final fleet race of the day. 2 more coming tomorrow. Down on the water, Lisa, it looks like a lot of dark patches out there. How tough is this course to read in this third race?
It's actually not too hard to read once the wind is here, so it is a lot windier in general across the course. We had a big left shift on that beat, that's why Denmark is now coming a little bit more advantage on Australia, and Canada got back into the race. But where Denmark and Australia are right now, there's plenty of wind, so it is a little bit different, but no one lap has been the same all day. In general, this left-hand side, the Halifax side, has been working better, but there is opportunity on the right. So it's a bit of roll of the dice. It's a real chess game out here, but going around at 80 kilometers per hour.
Well, it's happening pretty quick, and we saw a little bit too quick for Canada. They've sailed outside the boundary. Might have done that on purpose to hope to make the next gate with no more manoeuvres, but they're going to have to lose 20 metres, and if the umpires deem it to have been on purpose, they could take more distance from them. Still a penalty on Canada. They've had to slow right down. There you go, Phil Robertson. I think he's probably done enough now, but he pushed outside the boundary, and he's got clear, but Emirates Great Britain threads the needle, and the Black Foils,
who has the right of way?
Burning on board, the Black Foils has the right of way here. Great Britain must stay clear, but they've got a faster angle, but I think they're going to struggle to be ahead of New Zealand from here. They've got to set it up for the next leg. Canada in it, but leading at gate 3, it's New Zealand and the Black Foils.
Canada's coming in hot here. Are they coming in a little too hot? Will they go to the inside line? Canada does just that.
Wide in, tight out, Todd. Textbook motorcar racing stuff there, and they're going to set themselves up well. Good work by Robertson. Early manoeuvre coming from the Black Foils. Straight in front of them turns Canada, and Canada has control. As we see the Roos, they're back to 4th. When do you see Slingsby on board that Australian boat lose a lead? He's struggling out there today.
Everybody's with you.
Spain has not had a great third race here. They sit in 8th place, so they'll want to pick up 2 or 3 more positions. They are the current leaders after 2 races, so we'll see what they can do. Remember, they are the winners of the last event. Maybe the hottest team in SailGP right now, as they have been on a winning tear since Bermuda.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how much that wind has rotated round. Look, you can see the leading 3 boats sailing down towards gate number 4, almost in a straight line. That's a big wind shift. Not a lot to do here. Just try and stay in the match. If you're Great Britain and New Zealand, try and stay close.
Yeah, back up wind. Okay, getting so good pressure here, so go and lift.
Go here, Giles Scott, just trying to check what the racetrack is still. Looking for going back upwind. We should hear the crews now. What are they planning for this next upwind? We might be able to hear on board.
Max wing, come up 5, coming up. Great, coming. Rounding up in 3, 2, 1, faster turn.
So maybe one more manoeuvre for New Zealand and potentially for Great Britain. Great Britain turn away. Our graphics are just suggesting there's only one mark. There is one more upwind leg to do here. So the boats are able to turn left. New Zealand, that's a rare mistake from the Black Foils. Got a little bit slow, and that turn-up's hard when you're slow. Emirates Great Britain split the course. Has Hannah Mills, the strategist, found more wind? They look like they're going to sail across a good puff of wind to me right there. Phil Robertson, he's going to have the right of way when the 2 boats meet.
So it is Canada that leads on leg 5 of 7. They'll go to the top of the course here. They'll come back down, and then it'll be the right-hand sprint to the finish line. Can Canada get the win to back up that 3rd in race number 2 and the 7th in race number 1?
Coming up a little here.
Yeah, nice pressure, nice wind. That dark breeze there suggests all the boats are in good wind, but right of way with Canada as they move up the course. It could be advantage Great Britain, though, because they're going to get to the right-hand side of them. Bottom, the way Spain's going at the moment, yeah, bottom right-hand corner of our screen, that's where traditionally there's been a little bit more breeze as the race goes on. So I like where Great Britain's heading at the moment, and they will have the right of way.
I think if this is lefty here, I think we take it.
That was Phil Robertson. He's hoping the wind turns to the left, because that'll help him out. Lisa, how are the Canadians going to find a left wind shift here?
They are in really good pressure out here on the left, and the wind is shifting quite a lot, which means one moment the right is working, one moment the left is working. But looking across the course at the moment, I think they are in the best pressure. But Emirates, Great Britain, they have a better angle, so it'll be quite close when they come back together. I think that split of the gate for Emirates GBR did help, but Canada, they're just doing their manoeuvre now, and they'll come across and meet GBR.
All right, Lisa, the big question is when they get to this top gate, where would you go? Where do you think the pressure is going to be the most beneficial to put some distance on your opponents?
Want it in right, okay?
Todd,
I think a left turn at the next gate is going to be quite powerful because you can turn left and then you do a jibe, do a turn, and then it's almost one run down to the bottom. So that's what I would do, but you know, in 30 seconds it could be different.
I think that's the key point, Todd. I think you've got to make that decision closer to the top of the course when you see what wind's going to be coming down. We saw a really tight cross there, Great Britain ahead, but right now, roles have reversed. Right of way's back with Canada here, and it looks good to me for Canada. Here we go, oh, it's getting a bit loose on board the Canadian boat. They get it. They've got the right of way now, and they've come to this right-hand side of the course at the top here. Seems to traditionally have a little bit more wind. Great Britain might be able to dive inside. What's your decision, Giles? Do you want to turn right, or do you take Lisa's advice and go left?
Are we crossing hand? Take a look. Coming up.
Oh, they go left.
They're not, well, they didn't think they were crossing. That's a late decision. They're both going to be slow. Australia are back in the race. New Zealand are up, dropped out. Oh, Canada on the inside. Did he have room? Oh, I don't know if he did. That could be a question asked there. That all happened very, very late. Dive inside.
Penalty Canada, relative GBR, not entitled to mark room.
Yeah, I didn't think he had room in there. He came in too late. He's got to drop behind Great Britain. Oh, Phil Robertson a bit too aggressive. Got to let the British past him here, and that could be opportunity for left-hand side of our screen, Tom Slingsby.
Coming up.
Plenty of race left in this one yet, trust me.
We'll let them roll, okay? Germans on the nose. Yeah, coming up.
Oh, let's look at that one more time, Stevie, because it looked like Phil Robertson doing Phil Robertson kind of things, and this time Chief Umpire says not so fast.
Yeah, well, he turns in front on board the British boat, but he crucially enters the yellow zone, which means he is entitled to round the mark as he wants. Phil Robertson tries to dive inside, which stops Giles Scott doing what he wants to do. You're not allowed to do that. Sometimes if you've not got the right of way, you just got to slow up. But that's not Phil Robertson's style. Shoot from the hip, see what you get. Advantage Australia right now, Todd. They found more wind, and the Australians have the right of way, but can they get to the final turning mark with no more manoeuvres?
And Tom Slingsby has come back, and they are now in first place as they have overtaken both Canada and Emirates GBR. They were number one at mark number one. They fell back into the fleet to fourth, Stevie, and now they're back showing their class. Can they hold on here for the final 200 meters? It's Australia, Emirates GBR, and Canada 1, 2, and 3.
It's all about if they make this final turning mark with no more manoeuvres. If they're straight in easy, then no problems. If not, they're going to be slow and they're going to have a tricky rounding. Here we go, 2 tight manoeuvres for the Australians. Can they do it accurately? The flip-flop jive, they call it. 2 turns in a moment. Can they stay? Oh, they've done a nice job of controlling that. Slingsby's back. He needed a win.
And race number 3 will go to the Australians as Tom Slingsby bounces back to get the final race here on day number 1 in Halifax. At the line, Emirates GBR just edging out Phil Robertson and the Canadians.
What a tricky day to be consistent. It's going to be 4th place for Blackpool.
He could have just motored to us.
A little bit of a disagreement between Phil Robertson and Paul Campbell-James there. Campbell-James seeming to side with Craig Mitchell there. Bit rare to hear that on the racecourse. Craig will be nice to hear some of the sailors agreeing with him. But Spain in 7th at the moment. It's a tricky race for the Spanish, but still probably not disastrous after a good first 2. Maybe not enough for the French, and De La Pierre though with a 6th. He, much like the Australians, really needed a good last race here.
So France will come in. Their report card on day number 1 will be a 2, a 7, and a 6. Spain now goes wide around here. They've got the time.
No, Nick, no. Go, Nick. Press down. Come on.
Oh, he's just talking to Nicky Van Velden there. That was Diego. He said, oh, he's got to keep clear now, Spain. You've got to keep clear. Oh, there's a little bit of disagreement. It's all getting pretty tense out there. Fatigue maybe kicking at the end of the day, but that was Diego Bortin and Nicky Van Velden clearly had a different picture of what they wanted to execute out there on the racecourse. And a place lost by the Spanish. How costly will that be? Points mean prizes, Todd, and that's 1 point lost, perhaps unnecessarily.
So Switzerland does get 7th place. Spain drops back to 8th. So after a tremendous performance in race number 1 and a 4th in race number 2, they get an 8th in race number 3. Stevie, we said this many times before, out of the 5 fleet races, you can have a bad race. You can have a 7th, 8th, even a 9th if you're consistently in the top 3 or 4. But man, Spain is flirting with not making that event final coming tomorrow as Germany brings it home and the USA, a bad day for them. 3 last place finishes for the Stars and Stripes.
Yeah, definitely not an easy day to be consistent though, Todd. So, you know, it's kind of about minimum points, not all about getting the low scores.
We'll break it all down in just a matter of moments from Halifax. Let's go down on the water as Team Australia gets the win. Tom Slingsby and company. Tom, you guys bounced back from an 8th in that first race, a 6th in the second race. The good news is you're trending up, my friend, but these conditions are not easy.
Yeah, we were just joking around on board. I think that last top mark of the last race was the only wind shift we got all day. Just felt like, yeah, we were a bit unlucky, and we had a couple of bad instances. In that second race, we got luffed about 15 times by Nathan Outridge on the first reach, and it was just we're in a battle all day, it felt like.
And Tom, is Tash around anywhere near you? Tash, I was going to say, pretty hard day being the strategist out there. What happens when you are stuck in the middle of the pack there? Is there much you can do, or are you just relying on Lady Luck like Tom suggested?
Well, I think there was a bit of luck with it, but also no matter where you are on the race course, you're kind of always in danger of either going the wrong way or being in a lull, so it's tricky all around no matter where you were.
Yeah, nice. Tom, you mentioned in the press conference that this is a bit of a game of riding on confidence. It's been a sort of tough event for you so far, and maybe tough couple of months. You know, is this the sort of thing you need to get this Australian boat back to what we're used to seeing, which is consistently winning?
Honestly, it felt like we started the boat somewhat well today, but we just weren't in phase with the shifts, and that responsibility falls on my shoulders. So, look, we've got the talent, we've got the skill set, we just need to put it all together, and it was nice to finish well today. It was a tough first 2 races. I was thinking we're going to be the back of the pack after day 1, but this puts us in with a chance heading into day 2 of making the final, so that's what we needed.
Oh, well, Tom, good luck for tomorrow, and hopefully you can all get one of those nice outfits like Carl Langford.
Well, let's take a look at some of the moments, Stevie, in this one. And the start, once again, was critical.
Well, absolutely critical. And it was Tom Slingsby who, here we go, absolutely nailed it as he came flying into this start line. He was out the back. The New Zealand were trying to be fast. Pole predictor was at the top of the line, but it's hard to do it from up there. The Rolex best time start did go to the Canadians at the top of the line, absolutely flat out within 0.1 of a second after the gun, but they had more distance to sail. Slingsby had got his maths right, and he managed to hold on in the inside just to lead at Mark 1. So it was a really, really nice job by the Australians when they needed it, let's be honest.
Let's go down to gate number 2, Stevie, and this is where things got a little more interesting. Everyone's starting to feel the points really coming to bear.
Yeah, well, it was really, really tight. This was sort of really tight at the bottom of the course. Canada managed to just sneak in. It's got a penalty, which cost them, and there you go.
So here are the highlights from race number 3, and once again, Stevie, the race start was key, but look how close everyone is at Mark 1.
Yeah, I mean, the starting was pretty key, but we saw a lot of the teams through the day, you know, they had their moments, didn't we? See the Spanish, they had a great race. This was the second start of the day, and De La Pierre, well, he did a fantastic job here. But there was a lot of mistakes to be made out there. An Australian, well, they weren't the only team making mistakes. French leading at this one, but they struggled all the way back in that race too, dropped right back through the fleet.
How hard is it going to be for tomorrow with similar conditions, finding consistency with Tom Slingsby, who's maybe one of the best in the world, can't find consistent breeze?
Well, I think that, it comes down to doing the basics really well, and I think it's executing good manoeuvres. It's not making those silly little boat handling mistakes. Sometimes boat speed, a good decision, you can make a good decision, but if you execute that decision badly, it looks like a bad decision. So the teams need to go away and analyse, did we sail badly, or did we execute our manoeuvres badly? And I think a lot of the teams will probably be able to find some real gains in how they're sailing the boat. And then come back tomorrow ready to fight, because it's going to be a scrap all the way till that final finish line.
Well, it's been a topsy-turvy day of racing here in Halifax as SailGP comes to the Great White North for the first time. So everyone wants to know, what do the standings look like after 3 races? Remember, it's 10 points for win, 1 point for last, and it is Emirates GBR that has been the most consistent. They are 1 point clear of the Black Foils. New Zealand sit in second place, and ROCKWOOL Denmark. Remember, after the 5 fleet races, you want to be in the top 3, because then you will race off for the winner-take-all event final. Canada on the outside, Stevie, Spain on the outside, but I don't think you count out Australia and France just yet as well. They're sitting on 18 points.
No, I don't think you're counting out many, but what a massive day for Giles Scott. He's been under a lot of pressure, not performed, but we should give credit where credit's due. It's a hard day, and he sailed very well out there today, so it's going to be a happy Emirates GBR right now.
All right, let's go down on the water. Lisa Darmanin is with Emirates GBR, the team that leads after 3 races.
Well, I think Giles and Hannah were a bit surprised when I said they were the standing leaders. Sounds like everyone felt like it was pretty tough out there, and you're a bit surprised, Giles.
I'm not going to say surprised. Nice surprise, if anything. But yeah, tough day. Like real hectic racecourse that, and yeah, I think if you watch all the onboards, I'd imagine everybody was having a mare here and there, and we certainly had our struggles, but yeah, we managed to pick our way through it today, which is quite nice.
You had to have the full package. You had to be able to execute manoeuvres, get off the start line, pick the shifts, sail fast. Is that what it felt like, trying to do everything right all at once?
Yeah, trying being the key word there. I mean, I don't think it was pretty, particularly from anyone. I mean, we certainly didn't feel very clean today, but we're, as you say, we're in the overall lead and not really feeling like we sailed that clean. So I think it just goes to show how difficult racing is here in this offshore, shifty, gusty stuff. Yeah, I mean, awesome racetrack, but hard going.
And Hannah, we have a ROCKWOOL rockstar of the day, and the commentators think they're handing it to you, so congratulations. How does it feel? Do you feel like you earned that title today?
I think the whole team probably earned that title for sure. It was a massive team effort to get the boat around the racetrack. The breeze here is pretty cold, so it hits really hard, which is just making it even harder with this shifty offshore stuff. But yeah, amazing venue.
And what was that moment in the last race? Obviously you got right back into it. Was there a moment in the race that you picked a good shift, or what got you back in there?
Yeah, I can't remember which upwind, to be honest. It was such a hectic day, but one of the upwind we just absolutely nailed, tacking in the pressure and getting the shifts totally perfect pretty much, and we pulled right through to, I think, just behind the Canadians, and kept the race really close from there. But yeah, there's always an element of luck and where you are on a day like today, but you just keep chipping and keep trying to put your boat in the right spot and hope it comes good.
Well, good news is we've got more of the same tomorrow, around 30 km/h winds, gusting to 40 km/h. But as we can see, anything can happen here at SailGP. It'll be interesting to see what configuration they go. I don't know how you guys felt about the high-speed boards, but we're just going to have to wait and see, and can't wait for another action-packed day tomorrow.
On the frosty waters here in Halifax, Stevie. Excited for tomorrow because it is going to be a mixed bag, as Lisa reported, a little bit of everything thrown at the best sailors in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think, if you're sailing out there, it's, you can see, even for the best, it got wet, it got cold, it got tricky, and it's hard action out on the water. There's plenty to go for. In some ways, the top teams be pulling their hair out because there's so many things that aren't controllable on the racecourse. What you can control is your own performance, and they need to go and analyse hard, think about what they're going to do tomorrow. Some teams like France got to come out firing, so it's going to be great fun.
We look forward to it. It'll be day number 2, Championship Sunday of the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix Halifax. On behalf of Lisa Darmanin and Stevie Morrison, I'm Todd Harris. We will see you tomorrow here in the Great White North as we return to Halifax, Canada. Halifax is the host of the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix. And the win goes the way of the Spanish. Content de la Pierre with nerves of steel. Race number 2 goes the way of the Great Dane in ROCKWOOL, Denmark.
Oh, brilliant by Slingsby. That's tight. Really tight. Slingsby's back. He needed a win.
It's a racetrack like no other. the crowds, inches from the action. Emirates GBR surprised on day one, upsetting the pecking order. Will New Zealand chase the Brits down? And can Australia turn their fortunes around? Race number 3 will go to the Australians. For the home team Canada, the event-deciding showdown is all that matters.
Oh, that is
Welcome to SailGP.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best, yes. Powered by nature, raw passion, all action. When it takes, racing on water, racing with impact. Give it all, everything, give it all, everything. We are racing. When it takes, we are SailGP.
Event 11 of Season 4 has SailGP coming to the Great White North for the very first time. Known as Canada's Ocean Playground, Nova Scotia and the capital city of Halifax is now home to the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix. Racing this weekend takes place on the sacred waters of the Mi'kmaq people who signed the Treaty of Peace and Friendship with the British Crown almost 300 years ago. SailGP brings a mission of respect of land, wind, and water that powers the league as first-time visitors to these beautiful shores. Alongside Olympian Stevie Morrison and former world champion Emily Nagel, I'm Todd Harris. Well, after 10 events of Season 4, it is New Zealand that resides on top of the overall leaderboard. Three-time defending champions Australia sit in second place, 10 points back of their rivals. Then it's Spain in third with ROCKWOOL Denmark currently in fourth, even with France on 56 points. The host team for this weekend, Canada, is in sixth, 4 points ahead of the U.S., who are in seventh with 49 points. Emirates GBR still have an outside chance of making the season-ending grand final, but they need big results to make that a reality. Germany and Switzerland hold down the final two spots. We are planning for 3 more races today, 2 fleet races, and then the event final here in Halifax. SailGP awards 10 points for a win, all the way down to 1 point for last. For the very latest on the schedule at today's challenges, we go on down on the water with Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
Todd, I can tell you the wind is up today. It is gusty again, but it's a lot windier than we saw yesterday. Around 30 kilometers per hour to 44 kilometers per hour from the northwest. But because it's so gusty, it has unfortunately meant the craning has been delayed this morning. It takes quite a big effort to get all 10 F50s in the water. And the unfortunate news is that we are going to have a delay. They have got currently, I think it's 7 F50s in the water, and the F50s are just heading to the racecourse at the moment. Germany is still craning in, and it looks like Switzerland and USA might miss out. The way that they have done it is they've actually tried to prioritize the standings to make sure that the standings from yesterday get out first, and they can battle out to try and make that top 3 finals. So we do have the same configuration as yesterday, 24-meter wings and high-speed boards. So it's all on. We just have to wait for it.
All right, thank you, Lisa. A little bit of chaos down on the water. So unfortunate for 2 of the teams, as Lisa mentioned, Switzerland and USA. They currently sit in 9th and 10th place after yesterday's racing. Stevie, we talked a lot about you can't win the regatta on day number 1, but you can certainly lose it because Sunday is never guaranteed that you're going to be able to get to it. So the craning team continues to try to get the boats all in place.
You've got to find the right balance between being safe and getting the boats out there and going racing. So that's always a bit of a tightrope that we walk, and we're probably a bit more in the safe camp at the moment, which can be a good thing because you avoid all those accidents. But I'm really hopeful that we'll get all the boats in and we'll get out there today.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many factors that go into getting the boats on the water safely, and that's a number 1 priority. And right now the conditions have been really challenging for the craning, and as soon as you kind of lift that wing, it's there's a lot of risk involved for a lot of people lifting such, like a big structure. It's very light, it can catch the wind easily, and where we are, there's a lot of different directions coming at it with a lot of difference in wind pressure, so it's definitely challenging. And I think right now we're still holding and really hoping to get on the water.
Yeah, it is quite windy, and it's also very shifty, which is quite hard for the crane operations. No, in SailGP we always try to be quite safe with the crane operations, and yeah, there are certain things that we cannot control, like the breeze picking up and shifting a lot, and yeah, it's a challenge for us to get the boats in the water this morning, but we'll try to make our best to get out there and have a good day of racing.
So that is the current situation here in Halifax at the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix, waiting for racing to take place, scheduled for 2 fleet races and then the event final to see who will take the top prize. But it looks like the Swiss and the USA will miss out. But great racing took place here in Halifax on Saturday, and especially in race number 1, where Spain showed some serious momentum.
Here we go, the crew start to wind it up. De La Pierre on board France towards the bottom of our screen. Germany out the back, it's going to be New Zealand, Canada and Australia. How's your timing in the middle of the line, Phil Robertson? Boy, it's a pretty picture perfect start from Canada, but the German boat, wow, absolutely flying through the fleet there. Perfect timing from Eric Heil. It's going to be a sprint between France and Germany towards Mark 1.
Little bit of grip, Jimmy.
And here we go, mark number 1, race number 1 from Halifax, and it looks like the Germans are going to roll over the top of the French.
Oh, France have got tactical advantage there. The Germans have got to keep clear. Todd, expect aggressive move from Contan here. He's going to keep pushing. Germany's got to keep clear. Could be good news for Spain, as France and Germany are in a private battle, and we know the turn to set yourself up for gate 2 comes soon. Has De La Pierre pushed them off the course too far?
And port.
So while Germany and France get into it, Canada slides to the inside. Germany carrying almost out to the border, and Spain has inherited the lead. So the Spanish, winners of the last event in Bermuda, coming out with a beautiful start, Stevie. They get away from the fray, and now they've got open water. The Germans are coming in hot. They will split in between the French and the Spanish, and they will split the course. And it looks like Diego Botín and the Spanish will follow the French and Content de La Pierre.
Good first downwind, and here we go, great camera angle. Look at these darker patches in the middle of our screen, Todd. Really good wind for an early manoeuvre for the Spanish boat here. Wouldn't be surprised to see them turn early. There they go, left-hand side of our screen, Spain straight into a turn. Well lined up for the wind on this upwind leg, but they're going to be coming back through the middle of the fleet, and look at some of the pre-regatta favourites, United States, New Zealand, can't even see the Australians. Some of the big names are out the back at this stage.
And right now the French and the Spanish are almost neck and neck, the edge going to Spain, just about 100 meters, well less than 100 meters, probably about 50 meters ahead of the French in second. The Germans are in third, and then in fourth place it's Emirates GBR with Giles Scott, Nathan Outridge and the Swiss currently in fifth.
And Giles Scott, left-hand side, Great Britain, they're back in the race. A big pressure event for Giles here, not performed in SailGP yet, but what a fantastic upwind leg.
Gate number 4 as they make their way in here is Emirates GBR having a great race, and they are desperately needing points as they currently sit in 8th place overall, 17 points out of a top 3 position. And remember, the top 3 will race for $2 million when we get to San Francisco in about 2 months' time.
As soon as you're out in front, like the Spanish team are, you just get to pick your own course and sail where you want to go in clear wind, and well, it's a quality act. We saw that at the last event, and Tom Slingsby in the press conference said at this level it's all about confidence, and can't be feeling a lot more confident than coming in having won the last event.
All the boats are on our bow, you see them. Yes.
Tight moment here, France and Great Britain. Now the British are going to fall off the foils. As soon as they're overlap right now, the British have to stay clear of France. De La Pierre was very kind to him there, but he didn't need to do much more. He's in a good gust of wind. He's heading right at the mark, and the wind's now rotated to the right. So expect an early turn from the French after they turn downwind here. Little stretch away, then set up to turn.
So they'll head downwind one more time, and then it's a quick right-hand turn to the finish line. Remember, it's all about points, and right now it looks like Spain is going to take the full 10. Stevie, this is where you try to minimize your losses. We always say in SailGP, there's 5 fleet races. You can have 1 bad race, you cannot have 2.
Yeah, and I mean, just take a look at the left-hand side of the leaderboard. Who's gone up to 5th from 8th New Zealand last gate? They took, and they've headed out towards that wind that had turned to the right there, bottom right-hand side of our screen. Look at them go on the black foils from nowhere. They're through. It's tight with Canada, Denmark, and New Zealand. And New Zealand, if they can make it round the mark with no more turns and do a left turn here, they're going to be well set up. What an upwind leg from the black foils. Once again, Harry Houdini's pulled himself out of the flames on board that New Zealand boat.
Meanwhile, at the other end of the course, it is Spain that has made the turn, and they are now headed towards the finish line. And the win in race number 1 in Halifax goes the way of the Spanish.
As we see New Zealand now.
Maybe the best save of the race.
Well, they're just so good at this comebacks at the moment, aren't they? Oh, Canada, have a look at it on board the Canadian boat. What a catch by Billy Gooderham. Just clearly trying to keep the crowd involved. It's all a bit loose on board that Canadian boat. I don't see anyone too close behind them. Oh, Phil Robertson said he was going to keep the crowd entertained, but I didn't think it was going to be quite like that.
That's right, guys.
So it was a great start in race number 1, especially if you're a fan of the Spanish, the winners of the last event in Bermuda. Much more as we get set to go racing at the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix from Halifax. Will steer Canada to their first SailGP victory, and it comes at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix.
The start line of a three-boat final is very different. You've obviously got much less traffic, and to be in the leeward position, the inside on Mark 1 is probably everything. If you're at the top coming in Mach 10 and someone's at the bottom sort of half speed, you're probably not going to roll them on the light air foils as opposed to the high speed foils. So we wanted to win the pin, and you know if you fight hard for it, someone's probably going to back off.
So we're basically trying to maintain control on the other two boats while not being early for the line. And then when that time to kill number hits 0, we just basically put the bow down. I crank the boat way up in the air, trying to get the boat to accelerate as quickly as possible, and then we're sort of off like a herd of turtles to Mark 1.
We knew if we could keep both those boats from rolling us, then we're going to be in pretty good shape. Well, the moment I was actually the most proud of was at the top mark, Kiwis on port, laying the right gate. We were underlay for the left gate, so we had to make a tack anyway. So what you can do under the rules is actually bear away slightly, take the stern of a boat that's just tacked and they're a bit slower, hook them, and actually put them head to wind and luff them. We sort of put the tack in a really good spot, which made it really hard for them to decide whether to push through or try to roll above. And I think they sort of hesitated. They went for the push. We exited the tack super low. Then they came up and tried to use their speed to roll over, and which meant we were actually able to just lock them there and sort of lead around that last top mark with them outside us.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
It's been an incredible start to racing as SailGP visits the scenic coastal city of Halifax in the province of Nova Scotia for the very first time. Halifax has an impressive history, iconic landmarks, and stunning architecture. It's a regional culinary center with picturesque coastal views. Halifax's vibrant culture has something for everyone. Still waiting to get racing started here on Championship Sunday. We'll have 2 fleet races and then the event final. But the fans have turned out in force as they get ready to watch some of the world's best compete here in Halifax. Before we get to that, let's take you back to Saturday's racing, race 2 on day number 1 here at the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix.
Here we go, pole position predictor at the moment. We see on board Denmark, bottom of the line, New Zealand and Spain fighting hard for this end. France looking for a slingshot in, right-hand side of our screen. Has he got his timing right? It's going to be hard for Spain and New Zealand to accelerate. Here come the French. They're coming in hot. De La Pierre, is there room? It's going to be marginal, I think there is. Oh, he strode it like he stole it. Quentin De La Pierre, have a look at it. What a job, he snaked his way through. New Zealand have accelerated in time, should be able to hang on to second place, but what a start by the French.
Contandilip with nerves of steel as they approach mark number 1. He will take the whole shot here in race number 2 with the Danes in second and the Kiwis in third.
Oh, look at the Australians, Todd. They've flown too high. They're off the foils. Waterhouse pushing too hard on board the Australian boat. They're going to be out the back of the fleet here with work to do. They're full of water as we see France, ROCKWOOL, Denmark, and it's Spain first to turn away from the fleet. That worked well for them in race 1. Has Botin spotted more wind?
Spain in the mix right now. It is Denmark and France on the left side of your screen with the Kiwi short behind.
Here we go. Looks like Botin thinks he can get there in 1. He's hoping to make it down. He's got the rights over New Zealand on the inside, but he will be slower. ROCKWOOL, Denmark, they round gate 2 in the lead. But Contandilip, what a start. He's still very much in this in second as we see Spain round on the inside, but they're going to have to keep clear of the New Zealand crew. Expects an aggressive oh, nice work by the New Zealand crew there, and Spain are now going to be slow. Tight cross by Phil Robertson on board Canada. I think he was clean, but he's off the foils. So great upwind leg, but they're off the foils on Canada. And the black foils, well, they're up to second. No mistakes so far from Burling and his crew as ROCKWOOL, Denmark, well, they're checking out downwind. It's tight in the pack here. Great Britain have got the inside, but I think he's going to try and save a manoeuvre. So Botin is back up into this race, showing us 5th at the moment. Really tight with the French. Contandilip, great starts, but they're struggling to find a quick route round the course.
1 turning up.
See how quickly they go from manoeuvre to next manoeuvre. That choreography, that tempo of conversation, really, really nice on board the Danish boat.
Yeah, mighty fast.
We see New Zealand, they're off the foils. They've got to re-accelerate there. It's less wind at the top here. I think this is going to turn into a big lead for ROCKWOOL, Denmark. New Zealand are going to struggle to foil again here. And in fact, Canada could be a problem here. Canada and Spain on the inside of New Zealand. New Zealand's just going to creep around. Spain and Canada, well, there's a bit of history there. Don't expect to see Robertson be very kind to Botin here. Here we go. Canada winds it up. Spain must keep clear.
Canada with so much more speed, they blow right past the Spanish, push them back to 4th place. Meanwhile, it's Peter Burling now going into open water. He is firmly in 2nd place, and he'll try to reel in. Nikolai says that as they head down to this final gate, and then it's a quick right-hand turn, and right now the lead back up to 200 meters for Denmark.
3, 2, 1, angle.
Get out in front and stay out in front. That was the plan, and Denmark stuck to it. Race number 2 goes the way of the Great Dane and ROCKWOOL, Denmark.
They have it's really tight at the bottom here. Emirates Great Britain, Slingsby in 6th, could get back in here. Spain needs to give room to the British, but the Spanish can expect to be faster. Botin has played that beautifully. It's going to be hard for the Brits to stay. Oh, but the Spanish get a little loose. Britain get very loose. Can they keep the speed? Here come the Roos. They're going to look to go round the outside. I think the Roos could get round. It's going to be really close. Who's going to get it on the finish? Oh, that's a photo finish there for me. Wow, that was so tight as we see Switzerland and France. A lot of the boats getting loose at the bottom. France got to keep clear. Switzerland get round the French. Dilipierre, disaster really. I mean, first at Mark 1 and gone.
So in race number 2, it was Denmark that got winning, but this is the big moment at the start of the race. Keep an eye on Australia in the middle. They get tangled up with Nathan Outteridge and the Swiss, and it was a very tense moment both on the water and on board as Kyle Langford of Australia took us through the whole moment.
Yeah, so we felt like we're in a pretty good position off the start line. We had the Swiss below us, and of course we're in the risky position there. They have the rights to do whatever they want, but typically in this kind of racing it kind of serves no purpose to go after one particular team because you just kind of screw yourselves. And in the moment we were pretty frustrated at Nathan for luffing us like that, and he was pretty aggressive. He did it a couple of times and eventually put us off the foil.
2, 1, gun, Swiss coming up.
Nathan, every time.
He's
got it again. Nathan. Joking, this guy. After 16 times.
Mark is down a bit.
Coming up.
Pressing. Keep pressing with the Aussies. Full speed, whatever you got. Actually, let them blow, let them blow. Ease the wing. Let's go now. Full speed.
What the hell was he thinking? Because he really kind of screwed himself, you know, to go after us. And if that was his objective, you know, mission accomplished. But he also kind of screwed himself, which is, you know, we're kind of scratching our heads a little bit as to why you'd want to compromise your own race just to take out somebody, and especially early in the regatta. You know, if it's the 5th race and you're fighting for a spot in the final, you know, you'd expect that kind of action. But yeah, we were a little bit surprised that he was so aggressive so early in the series, you know, and ended up compromising himself to take us out.
So Stevie Morrison, what say you?
Well, yeah, it was a pretty aggressive move by Nathan, really. I think Slingsby and him have got a lot of history there, so it was obviously a few points being scored amongst each other, but Robin's racing, as they say, and I think all it really did was to set up to fire Tom up for the 3rd race of the day.
Well, we'll see how it all played out. Spain wins race number 1. Denmark wins race number 2. Who would win race number 3 on Saturday? We are still in a delay moment here on Championship Sunday. The fans have turned out en masse. They want to see the world's best. Before we get to those 2 fleet races today, let's bounce back to the 3rd and final race on Saturday. Does Australia get their revenge?
Spain and the United States are late, that's for sure. New Zealand are up and foiling. Australia are up and foiling. Don't see much of a gap for New Zealand. Oh, he's trying to thread the needle. Have a look at Peter Burling. How's your timing at the bottom of the line here, Australia? Coming in hot. Oh, brilliant by Slingsby. Absolute perfection.
OCS penalty over the line early. Switzerland and Germany.
They need to drop out the back. It's a big, big gust of wind coming in towards Mark 1 here. Canada and Denmark are really, really fast. The Australians hold the tactical advantage. Denmark must keep clear. Canada must keep clear. Slingsby's going to lead, and Burling and New Zealand are going to be 4th, chasing down ROCKWOOL, Denmark and Canada, but the Kiwis will have the opportunity to manoeuvre away to gate 2 first. Here go the Aussies.
At mark number 1, the team that maybe needs a great win here the most, the Aussies. 3-time champions in SailGP. They have had a terrible regatta so far in 8th and in 6th on the first 2 races.
Look at this gap, they look like they're overlapped to me. Maybe just in time broken by Australia. That's tight, really, really tight. He's given them room. Slingsby thought they were overlapped. Sehested think he didn't have enough room. Wow, what a tight moment in the race there. Now ROCKWOOL must keep clear of Australia.
Here's Nikolai Sehested call for the protest. Nothing so far from Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell as Denmark maintains the lead. They will turn away from the Aussies.
Burling on board the Black Foils has the right of way here. Great Britain must stay clear, but they've got a faster angle, but I think they're going to struggle to be ahead of New Zealand from here. They've got to set it up for the next leg. Canada in it, but leading at gate 3, it's New Zealand and the Black Foils.
Canada's coming in hot here. Are they coming in a little too hot? Will they go to the inside line? Canada does just that.
Wide in, tight out, Todd. Textbook motorcar racing stuff there, and they're going to set themselves up well. Good work by Robertson. Early manoeuvre coming from the Black Foils. Straight in front of them turns Canada, and Canada has control. As we see the ruse, they're back to 4th. When do you see Slingsby on board that Australian boat lose a lead? He's struggling out there today.
Past the turn.
So maybe one more manoeuvre for New Zealand and potentially for Great Britain. Great Britain turn away. Our graphics are just suggesting there's only one mark. There is one more upwind leg to do here. So the boats are able to turn left. New Zealand, that's a rare mistake from the Black Foils. Got a little bit slow, and that turn-up's hard when you're slow. Emirates Great Britain split the course. Has Hannah Mills, the strategist, found more wind? They look like they're going to sail across a good puff of wind to me right there. Phil Robertson, he's going to have the right of way when the 2 boats meet.
Are we crossing, Han? Take a look.
Coming up.
Oh, they go left.
They're not, well, they didn't think they were crossing. That's a late decision. They're both going to be slow. Australia are back in the race. New Zealand are up, dropped out. Oh, Canada on the inside. Did he have room? Oh, I don't know if he did. That could be a question asked there. That all happened very, very late. Diving time.
Penalty Canada, relative GBR, not entitled to mark room.
Yeah, I didn't think he had room in there. He came in too late. He's got to drop behind Great Britain. Oh, Phil Robertson a bit too aggressive. Got to let the British past him here, and that could be opportunity for left-hand side of our screen, Tom Slingsby.
It's Australia, Emirates GBR, and Canada 1, 2, and 3.
It's all about if they make this final turning, Mark, with no more manoeuvres. If they're straight in easy, then no problems. If not, they're going to be slow and they're going to have a tricky rounding. Here we go, 2 tight manoeuvres for the Australians. Can they do it accurately? The flip-flop jive, they call it. 2 turns in a moment. Can they stay? Oh, they've done a nice job of controlling that. Slingsby's back. He needed a win.
And race number 3 will go to the Australians as Tom Slingsby bounces back to get the final race here on day number 1 in Halifax. At the line, Emirates GBR just edging out Phil Robertson and the Canadians. So after 3 races on Saturday, which not one team dominated, it's Emirates GBR on top by virtue of some very consistent sailing by Giles Scott and his crew. Peter Burling and the Kiwis are in 2nd place, 1 point back, and ROCKWOOL Denmark hold down 3rd. Then it's a tie for 4th with host Canada and last event's winner Spain. Surprising to see Australia and France so far down the leaderboard, with the Germans, Swiss, and the Americans bringing up the rear. So 2 teams will miss out today because of weather and trying to get the boats into the water. We go down earlier. Lisa Darmanin caught up with Nathan Outeridge, the driver for Team Switzerland.
Nathan, obviously super disappointing news. I know everyone's still pushing to get out there, but how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange situation. Our boat's still in the tent right now. It's been pretty bad weather, so we haven't been able to crane all the boats in, and they opted for rankings to get them in. So, if you don't have a good first day, it's pretty hard to climb up the leaderboard if you're not on the water.
So it feels pretty unfair?
It feels very unfair. We're all meant to be competing on equal terms here, and to run a race when there's only half the fleet out there or 7 boats just doesn't seem right.
Thanks, Nathan. Got my fingers crossed, but looking pretty grim.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to make the start. No.
And the other team missing out for the final day is USA. We spoke with Mike Buckley, Lisa Darmanin catching up with the Americans, who have to be disappointed as well.
Mike, obviously super disappointing sitting on shore here while the sailors head out to go to the racing.
Yeah, really disappointed. A lot of people, flew in to watch the race, drove here from the U.S., kind of our first race back in North America. Really disappointed that all the boats weren't launched. Pretty unique situation that only 8 of 10 teams are going to sail. But, it's out of our control, and we just kind of had to roll with it. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, 8 boats will put on a great show today, but pretty disappointing for us and Swiss to not be out there with the rest of the fleet.
Well, all eyes are on New York up next. Are you excited to get on home waters?
Yeah, that's going to be great, June 22nd, 23rd. But, today we're kind of focused on this. But, yeah, once we leave tomorrow, we'll start thinking about the next race. But, yeah, we're going to go enjoy racing today and, get with the league and figure out how we can avoid this in the future.
Thanks for your time, Mike.
So just over 2 minutes away before we go racing here in Halifax. Before we do that, let's check in. Stevie Morrison has today's very windy course map.
It's race day on Halifax Harbour, and the teams need to be behind the line as the clock goes to 0. Sprint to Mark 1, and then the course opens out. At each gate, they can turn left or right. Remember, the F50 sail at an angle to the wind to generate speed. So we see the crews taking different paths, trying to find the quickest time between gates. The gusts are going to punch like Mike Tyson out there on the water today, so you've got to have your head out of the boat and be ready for what's coming. Flat water it may be on the harbour today, but these are some of the toughest conditions the teams have faced. It's not over till it's over, but to finish first you must finish.
So the race is on. This will be race number 4. Remember, 3 races took place yesterday, and after one day, it was Emirates GBR out in front, New Zealand 2nd, Denmark in 3rd. You want to be in the top 3 because that will put you into the event final. Top 3 teams will race it off. And the conditions, as Lisa Darmanin has been reporting all day, have been very sporty. We'll see how it all plays out. It looks like it's going to be a 7-boat race. And I say 7, Emily, because it looks like Germany is going to miss out on the party as well.
Yes, very unfortunate for them, but hopefully they make the next race. Right now, my eyes are on the French and Danish. Those are 2 of our big win specialists, so really hoping to see some good results from them today.
And Stevie, with 45 seconds to go before the start of this race, how does this change the dynamic? Everyone's used to racing against 10, now it's 7.
Well, there should be a little bit more space out there, but it's still about hitting this red line on the left-hand side of our screen when it turns white in 33 seconds time, so that timing is going to be crucial. There is a bit more room. Look, we see Australia coming in hot at the top here, pushing a lot of water around. New Zealand, bottom of our screen. Different strategy. I'd have my eyes on New Zealand, I'd have my eyes on Canada. There we go, Canada. They've just got the pole predictor, yellow jersey, black star on the top of their sail there. That suggests they should lead from here to Mark 1, but I think I like New Zealand's position if they can be fast enough at the gun. It's all about acceleration now. Watch for that line to turn white. Who's got the timing right? Middle of the line. ROCKWOOL, Denmark and France look fast. New Zealand are slow. Here come the French. On the inside, it's going to be Australia. They should have tactical control as we head towards Mark 1.
And once again, Quentin Delapierre hits the line absolutely perfectly, and it looks like he has the overlap. As they come to mark number 1 on Championship Sunday, it will be the French that get the whole shot.
Yeah, he really was fast along that lead, Todd. They did a brilliant job. Australia do hang on the inside. New Zealand are out the back, and it's a very early turn to set yourself up for gate number 2 at the bottom. But look at the speed of these boats as they head towards all the fans on the shoreline. They're really coming in. Big wind shift. They're nearly sailing straight down the course here as Canada are pretty much smelling the food on the shore there. Really late turn by the Canadians, but France brilliantly set up for gate 2.
And here we go, live speeds, miles per hour and kilometres an hour there. They are absolutely flying. In the practice, just before we started racing, they were doing over 90 kilometres an hour.
The French touched 90 as they hit mark number 1 in that very dangerous area as they made the turn. The Canadians, as Stevie pointed out, getting close to shore, grabbing a little bit of poutine to go. Here we go as they come to gate number 2. It's France, it's Australia, and it's Denmark. 1, 2, and 3 as the Canadians break away.
Could be a nice move by Phil Robertson, that Todd. A lot of our predictors say a right turn at the bottom is a good move. Be interesting to see how that plays out. Canada does have space, Spain follows. New Zealand out of the back. Let's remember it's still a race for that top 3, and New Zealand back at the pack at the minute. They really are going to need to turn things around as the Fatten's get a full close-up of Phil Robertson's crew again. Good breeze on that shoreline side. Look at that dark patch of water coming down the shore there, Todd. It looks like really good breeze at the minute on that side of the course. Going to be good news for the Canadian crew. Should start to see it, yeah, bottom of the screen there, Emily. Looks like a lot more breeze on Canada at the moment.
Yeah, we saw just as they got in close to shore, they had 36 kilometres an hour of pressure, while France at the bottom of the screen down at 30.
Game for Canada at the moment, Todd.
So here we go as they get ready to head to the top of the course. Lisa Darmanin, as if you haven't been busy enough, what does it look like on the water?
Well, right now the Australians, they're in more pressure, but I really like the angle that the French are sailing in. And that's really been the pattern throughout the weekend. More pressure near the Halifax side, near the crowd, but better angles coming out the right. The wind is generally more left, so a little less shifty than yesterday. And also, because the average is higher, those manoeuvres are less compromised. So more room for the sailors to play this course.
Look at this graphic we've got here. We just saw Giles Scott cross. Luke Parkinson, flight controller, there he goes. Oh, brilliant work there. That's that tracker crossing. That's Hannah Mills now. She's having a look out. That's because the wind's coming over the left-hand side of that British boat. They don't have the right of way. Burling's New Zealand crew, he's starting to slice his way through the fleet. What can the black foils do on this upwind? It's a short race out here. Phil Robertson sailed a great first upwind leg, and he's going to potentially, or he should from here, lead at gate 3.
Coming up.
Oh, Australian, Canada, look how close.
Oh, it was an aggressive turn. It could be a capsize for the Australians. Oh, what a save, Carl Langford. Brilliant save on the wing there. Robertson, oh, the match race two-time world champion. He hunted that Australian boat there. What a job by the Canadians. And right now the Australians are dead in the water. Canada shoots ahead. France up to second, but for Slingsby, wow, he's going to breathe a sigh of relief to still be dry. It's tight with ROCKWOOL, but Australia needs to reset here, and New Zealand, they're out the back at the moment.
Oh, the Australians go from second and third place. They drop all the way back to 6th because of that moment, and it is Canada that squeaks away. France sits in second now.
Opportunity for New Zealand. Look at the speed of the Kiwis, and they're splitting the course here. New Zealand potentially could get back to third with that pile up on the left turn mark. What an opportunity for the black foils. Slingsby will be glad to still just be dry at this point in time, but out in front, look at Canada. They're down the road. The home fans are happy.
And it is good news for Canada at the moment, because with that kerfuffle at the top mark, that puts Canada through to first for race to the final.
Even with Great Britain, who led after day number 1, France would be in third. Let's go back and look at this one more time, Stevie. Who had the right of way, and why did Australia get put in such a difficult situation?
Canadians with the right of way, of course, coming towards Australia. I think we're going to be able to listen in on board the boats as they come. Here is that replay on board Australia. Listen in.
For this one,
Invert.
Oh, that was a little bit of an issue with that. Someone was late pressing the wing invert button there. Same button that caused the Americans to capsize in Bermuda. They're a little bit late with popping the wing from side to side. That caused the heel. Langford here, look, he drops the wing sheet right there. That's the moment where Kyle Langford saves the boat from capsizing. Quick reactions to unravel the sheet off of the winch, the big rope holding the big wing sail in. As we watch again, look, here we go. They turn up into the wing, but the wing doesn't start to articulate through on that. There it goes. You just see it there start to articulate, but it's too little too late. Quick reactions from Kyle Langford, but a rare mistake from the Aussies.
So Langford saves the Vegemite for the Aussies, but they slide all the way back in the overall standings. They currently sit in 6th place in desperate need of points, and the battle is on for 1st and 2nd. Canada and France doing battle in the middle of the field.
Yeah, but New Zealand crucially up to 4th. I'm pretty sure on the maps that's going to be good news for the New Zealand boat. They'll be wanting to overtake more places. Look at the fans on the shore there. Oh, another big moment for the Australians. They're struggling out here today. These conditions are brutal. Every time a big gust hits or changes. What's going on out there with these Australians, Lisa?
I don't know, they're looking so out of control, but I have to say that a lot of the boats are looking pretty loose. The Kiwis, they had a moment down there. The French, before the race, they had a big stumble, but I mean, the French are looking pretty slick right now. It is really tough conditions. The boats are also flying a lot lower in the water, as well as what we're used to seeing in this flat water. And I think that's just to manage the changing direction of the breeze, because if they get a big change in direction, it really hurts the flight of the boat.
We also have to remember here it's cold water, 6 degrees water temperature, and what we have found in colder water is that the foils are more likely to ventilate, so they're a lot more unstable. So when you do fly them high, there's a chance of ventilation, there's a chance of gusts, so plenty on out there for the teams to be managing.
Nice. Right turn here, okay?
Go hard. Go on, biggest grind of the day. Keep going, boys, keep going.
Oh, CJ there motivating the troops in the front there. I think that's worth mentioning, though. The grinders at the front of the boat are having to haul that wing sail in and out just at Samuel James's command, really. It's going to be a hard physical day for the grinders. You're going to want some strong players up there in the front of the boat. Phil Robson now, final downwind here. Keep it smooth, and this is going to be a good result. The crucial battle here is New Zealand in 5th against Giles Scott on the British boat in 3rd and Nikolai Sehested in 4th. That will be crucial, because this is the thing that can be close. New Zealand well lined up for a left turn. Here comes Giles Scott. Could go on the inside, could do a Nikolai Sehested on the inside. I think the black foils are going to go behind Great Britain, but they're right back in the race.
And holding on to that position will mean that now Great Britain are back on top of the leaderboard with 31 points as it currently stands. Canada in 2nd, and the Kiwis holding on to that 3rd. But France, 27 points, they're still really close behind, and everything can change.
No question about that. On a very blustery day, the race to the final is on. And we will see who will work their magic. Denmark on the move as Nikolai Sehested, their team up to 5th place, 1 spot behind New Zealand. But we are on the penultimate leg, and here we go. Mark number 5, it is Canada, the home team, out in front, and they are 200 meters plus ahead of the French, and they will get a warm welcome as they come through. Let's review their report card so far. Tough on day 1 and race number 1. They get a 7th place, but they bounce back nicely with back-to-back 3rds. So, Stevie, they are in the running, and they are currently in a top 3 position.
Yeah, I mean, they're in great shape, and they've sailed a really good race. I mean, these are tough conditions. He gave the ley line a lot of width there, made it easy to make that mark. France, the rounding won't be quite as easy. They're a little bit slower. It's going to be a tougher rounder.
And in race number 4 on Championship Sunday, it is Oh Canada. The Canadians bring it home for the win. France will hold on for second place, and that sets things up for a wonderful race number 5.
Tight moment coming here, Todd. That moment that's about to happen between New Zealand and ROCKWOOL Denmark. Look, on the inside, New Zealand, they've got to do a tight manoeuvre. Oh no, they're going to be behind ROCKWOOL Denmark. ROCKWOOL Denmark nearly 90 kilometres now. That's around the 48 knot mark in old money sailing there. And it was a great bit of work by Nikolai Serhested. That will be crucial on the overall. New Zealand come in 5th, and it's Slingsby 7th, 6th for Spain. This on our season standings are so tight. Australia have got to keep clear of Spain. They've done enough to break the overlap. Oh, look, as you look upwind there, it's windy. Race 5's going to be an absolute beauty as the Spanish, look, they're out of control. If you fly that high, she's only going to go sideways, and with the crowd that close, it nearly got a bit too fruity for the Spanish.
What a finish for race number 4, and we still have one more race to go here in Halifax. So despite the fact that there were only 7 teams out on the water, with Germany, the USA, and Switzerland missing out because unable to crane in their boats because of the high winds, this race certainly lived up to its billing. The wait was certainly worth it as we take a look back at the highlights from race number 4. 7 teams out on the water, and Stevie, still very spicy.
Well, it's really gusty. I think every time the winds change as much as that, you see how high the Australians got there. They just got too high on the foil and crashed down. We're on board. That's the moment Tom Slingsby takes control from Jason Waterhouse. Something not quite right in that swap over that's normally so slick. And well, when she goes up, she's going to then want to come down. And my goodness, look at that. A lot of water over the boat. What a spectacular slow-mo shot that is. Incredible scenes there. But yeah, just the handover, not quite as slick as we'd like. And then again, same again. Every time the boat does a sudden acceleration, Todd, it puts an extra amount of lift on the foil. And if the flight controller isn't quick enough to catch that change in speed, the boat's just going to leap so high out of the water. And a gusty day like that, really, really hard.
So race number 4, an amazing day, especially for the Canadians as they get their first win here on home waters.
And a throwback to the start, and we really are seeing some of our teams just absolutely nailing the time and distance. Australia, they, at 20 seconds to go, did this wiggle through the fleet to line themselves up perfectly. They were only 500 milliseconds off of the line. Meanwhile, France and Canada came in with some serious pace, hitting the line at over 70 kilometers an hour, which ultimately set them up in a brilliant position towards Mark 1.
Well, it was pretty eventful stuff from here, that is for sure. I mean, it was not exactly plain sailing for the Australians. They got pressed really hard by the Canadians there, and a slight delay, a mistake, something on board. The wing did not invert correctly. Carl Langford there sat with his hand on the wheel. Luckily, we watch now. Look at the big wing sail. Look at it suddenly drop down any second. Now, as Carl's going to let go, there he goes. Suddenly that big wing sail gets going there, but that all came from the wing invert button. We've heard about that in Bermuda. Certainly the United States crew have. Not popping at the right time. Shows how on edge these boats are. Even the best can get it wrong sometimes.
All right, Emily, let's crunch some numbers.
And here we go, looking at some numbers here. So Canada and GB are leading the way when it comes to percentage flight time. 95% of the time up on the foils. While we see the teams that were further back in the fleet were crashing off a little bit more due to all of those super gusty conditions out there. When it came to manoeuvres, you wanted to minimize them, but ultimately you still needed to get to all the shifts. So Emirates GBR there with 10 manoeuvres compared to Canada's 8, but ultimately it put them in good position to
So the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix delayed start, but we are off and running, and Phil Robertson in Canada give the hometown fans here on the shores of Halifax quite the show as we now go on board. Phil, what a great race. You guys had to wait for this one, but it was certainly worth it. Give us an idea of what the conditions are like out there and what you expect for race number 5.
Yeah, well, it's obviously very puffy and quite shifty as well, as you probably saw, but look, it's beautiful. It's a fantastic racetrack here in Halifax. We've got an amazing support along the shore, probably the most people we've ever seen at a SailGP event, so we're pretty jazzed up and having a good time.
Phil, it looks like maybe you borrowed that jacket off Justine Beaver yesterday. Not entirely sure where you got it from, but pretty aggressive move on the Aussies there. Looked like you made their life pretty hard for them.
Yeah, look, they were coming in on port, and more often than not, that has right of way now. So we thought we better make sure of it, make sure he got his tack in time. And yeah, look, they got it a little bit wrong, but it was certainly quite cool looking back and seeing them almost on their side. But thankfully, they stayed upright and could join in again.
All right, Phil, appreciate your time. Good luck to you, as Phil is styling today as he puts on a show as the greatest showman here on the waters of Halifax. One more fleet race to go. Stevie, I'll tell you what, there were some moments in this race, and the super slow-mo does not lie.
No, I mean, it was spectacular, wasn't it? And I just think it's such a gusty breeze out there on the water. The whole amount of power that's flying around is changing just every second out there. Hard for the whole choreography of the crews to keep that going along the road, to sail the boat smooth. And as soon as you're not out in front, it gets really, really hard when you're having to change your mind quickly.
And the battle is on for a top 3 position with one more fleet race to go. Short time ago, Lisa Darmanin kept up with a Great Dane, Nikolai Sehested.
Nikolai, it's pretty hectic out here. Obviously super stoked to be out here and battling. You're in 3rd at the moment.
Yeah, not our best first race now, but we got a few things we can improve, and yeah, we need a good one now. Obviously beat the Kiwis, but also just try and go and win the race. That will get us to the final. So we've been focusing a little bit too much on Spain. I think we need to start focusing ourselves as well. I think Spain's not going to make it, so we can push hard this last race and just go for the win.
Thanks, Nikolai.
So the Race Riot race standings look like this, an all-important 4th race. 3rd for Emirates GBR, so they are in the running still. Canada in there. And Emily, you see the tie between ROCKWOOL, Denmark, and New Zealand. Why did the Danes get the nod?
That is all down to who won the last race. So the Danish beat the Kiwis, therefore they win the tie-break. So very important next race for those two teams.
And there's also a race within the race. That is the Impact League.
The Impact League is SailGP's podium for the planet, a competition that runs concurrently with the season championship. Teams compete for points across the season in 2 ways, by acting and meeting sustainability targets at all events, and by delivering 4 specific projects: Race to Zero Waste, Accelerating Inclusion, Climate Action, and Breaking Boundaries through Gender Equity. For Halifax, ROCKWOOL Denmark won the Climate Action focus area with their innovative Race to Restore plan that will replant eelgrass, which is being lost at an alarming rate globally.
The first step in this project is to get the knowledge, and we don't have that as sailors, so we teamed up with Christina Border, a scientist and specialized in ocean health.
Eelgrass here really plays an essential role mostly for biodiversity. So there's so many species relying on eelgrass at some point in their life stage. Not only that, 1 square meter of eelgrass gives us 10 liters of oxygen per day. So that benefits us very directly. It also protects our shoreline. So it's on our side in the fight against climate change. So here we have a bundle of eelgrass with a very dense rhizome and root system. This stores a ton of carbon, about 10 to 40 times more efficient than forests on land.
300 square metres of eelgrass will be planted in the ocean around Nova Scotia, storing approximately 80 kilograms of CO2 every year.
It's a great platform for us to collaborate with, and we're very grateful that we were invited to share this, to really spread the word in this context of an amazing sports event.
Being a sailor, I feel strongly about ocean health, and that's why, first and foremost, I want to create a better environment for the ocean.
And there is the Impact League scoreboard with Denmark out in front, Switzerland second, Emirates GBR in 3rd, while perhaps not as fashionable as their colorful coral reef cousins. Seagrass covers only 0.1% of the ocean floor, but stores 18% of the ocean's carbon. And lowering the carbon in the ocean lowers acidity, which helps protect the good-looking coral reef. So congratulations, ROCKWOOL Denmark. The Impact League, SailGP, of course, powered by nature. And the watch is on now as the Germans have entered the fray. We go from 7 to 8. They missed out on that first race, Stevie, but they are at the bottom of the leaderboard, so this will be good for them to get in there. Makes it a little more crowded, but now under 2 minutes to go, and the battle will be to be in the top 3.
Wow. And are the Germans going to play spoiler for someone out there? The points are so tight. Look at that event leaderboard there. Denmark and New Zealand, same points. France just 1 point out. GBR, well, they're far from safe, but they might be liking the look of this rain coming down there. Very British-looking weather coming in for race 5 here. That'll probably suit Giles Scott and Hannah Mills, used to sailing in a bit of rain. The fans on the shore there, nothing's going to dampen their spirits.
So coming up on 90 seconds, under 90 seconds to go, Germany back in there. We'll see how they respond after sitting out a race. Emily, I got to think the pressure is definitely on Emirates, GBR, and Canada. Make sure they secure that top 3 spot.
Definitely. I think especially for that British team, you know, they haven't had very good results lately. It would be a brilliant moment for them to make that final.
So the weather changes yet again here in Halifax. 1 minute to go. This is the 5th and final fleet race, and then after this, only the top 3 teams will race in the event final. The weather conditions are changing rapidly. We will check in momentarily with Lisa Darmana down on the water. But Stevie, where do you want to be? Where do you fancy the best spot right here as this front comes through?
Well, it worked pretty well being up the line, so more towards the top of our screen last time. That was the faster angle. They've got their high-speed foils in, so they've got the small foils under the water. That means less drag. The boats will hit some top speeds so that they can press down over the top. France like the look of that. They've been starting well. New Zealand leading back. Very rare for Peter Burling. Australia, he takes a little move. New Zealand need a good start. They're keeping an eye on ROCKWOOL Denmark, who they need to beat. Now let's watch out for France on the right-hand side of our screen and Great Britain at the bottom of our screen. Great Britain are foiling with 10 seconds to go. New Zealand slow in the middle of the line, but they've got control. The pole predictor sits on Australia, but can Slingsby find a gap to thread the needle? I think I like where Great Britain is right now. Watch for the line to turn white. It's clear. New Zealand have nailed it. Great Britain have nailed it. Look at the breeze. This is going to be hammered down to Mach 1.
Real big puff. Going to be getting a little lighter.
Canada have done so well there, Todd. They're going to be able to blow over the top from that position if they're brave enough. Oh, she gets a bit loose on board Great Britain.
And at mark number 1, it's Emirates GBR that has the priority. They make the left-hand turn. Canada on the outside, the Kiwis on the inside.
Oh, New Zealand have got tactical control now, though. Great Britain, if they can stay down, will be able to turn when they want. They're going to set up to turn soon. New Zealand should be able to secure second from here. Great news for the Black Foil fans. Canada are in it. The hometown fans will be happy, but ROCKWOOL Denmark, well, Nikolai, you've got to find something now, mate.
Going to get back again.
We can see here just how low all these teams are foiling, barely off of the water, skimming along, just trying to stay in control. They can't afford to be making any mistakes.
Look, there's tight moment. New Zealand have got to keep clear, and the Spanish could play spoilers here. They've got over the Kiwis. What work by Botin and crew. Got themselves back in the race. Kiwis looking down there. 93 kilometres an hour on board the British boat. Oh, he's sending it hard there. New Zealand are back to 4th. Spain up to 2nd. Great work by the Spanish crew, but is it too little too late?
Keep going, mate, keep going.
4 races so far, 4 different winners. Who's going to win race number 5 and send their team into the event final?
They had a split. ROCKWOOL Denmark have done a nice job of heading in towards the fans on the shore. They're showing us behind New Zealand at the moment, but they are sailing their own path. They will be quick, and there's good wind. We can see that dark patch running down the shore there, but Giles Scott calls a right shift. If it does rotate right, that'll be good news for Great Britain from here. Burling seemed to rush turn there in under the Canadians. I'm surprised where he's gone. He needs to finish ahead of Denmark.
With this front coming through, let's check in down on the water. Lisa, I'm sure you got your rain gear going. What does it look like?
Yeah, great.
It looks a lot windier, Todd. Yeah, the rain has really come in now. It's really hard to see the wind on the water as much, but it is a little bit more consistent around the racetrack. Not that consistent, so there's still plenty to play for. A lot more breeze. Obviously, those F50s, they're still flying really low in the water, just trying to manage the change in velocity and direction. It is really tricky out here. I think, I really think anything can happen, and we're seeing with the boat handling, that Spanish team, they're so fast around this track.
is a bit runny now.
I think what's interesting here is the New Zealand crew don't seem as quick as we've seen at other times. Here we go, looking on board. Watch the crew go across the boat here. Billy Gooder and Phil Robertson, they're highlighted. Phil's not going to go until late on here. There we go, Finch the grinder. He's up and running, staying on his feet. Oh, Phil, he's having a look. Is he going? Is he? Yes, he is. Here goes Phil. He runs across, takes the wheel off Annie. And it's going to be Billy Gooderham that comes up next. Nice work by the Canadians here. They're well in this race. They look, we can see right-hand side of screen, New Zealand. Good news for the Canadian fans at the moment.
But the Spanish team have snuck in here and they are disrupting that race to the final scoreboard. So at the moment, this would see Canada, Great Britain and Spain bumping the black foils out of the final. So pressure is on Peter Burling to make that next gain.
Canada's got to keep clear here. Canada's got to keep clear of ROCKWOOL. Oh, wow, that's bull. Surely that was a foul. That looked pretty blatant by Canada there. Don't be surprised to hear from the umpires, but they already have a lead change. Penalty, Canada. How costly will that be to the Canadians? It's so tight. Spain in good position. They should lead at gate 3, but it's really tight between the Canadians and the British.
Let's go first lead after the fairway.
All kinds of congestion right now, and it looks like this will have a huge impact on who's in. You've got Canada still in it, Denmark still in it, and Great Britain will be in it as Spain gets bumped out, trying to ride the momentum of Real Madrid. Can the Spanish pull something off here?
Oh, it's really tight. The black foils could be back in this as well, but it's ROCKWOOL Denmark. They pulled a rabbit from a hat up here. What does Burling do? Can he get round the outside? ROCKWOOL Denmark are down inside the Spanish. This is so tight. Halfway through this race, we've got another one of those upwinds for the teams to deal with. My heart's not going to deal with it. I'm not entirely sure how the sailors are going to be able to deal with it. The Kiwis on the outside, they're struggling to get themselves space and back in the race, but Canada, this could be really bad news for Canadian fans unless Phil Robertson can find something soon.
And big down, Eric, big down, big down.
And the pressure really is on. We've got Canada just holding on here with 35 points. France just behind with 34. It is changing so quickly. I would expect that to change 10 more times in that next upwind.
This is just leg 4 of 7, race number 5. As we mentioned earlier, we have had 4 races, 4 different winners, and this is going to be critical, Stevie, not only to see who wins this race, but who could push. I think the Kiwis on the outside looking in, maybe even the French getting the boot.
Well, it's all on, isn't it? I mean, anything could happen, as Emily says, really. Australia have come from nowhere to a massive lead. ROCKWOOL, Denmark and Spain, they've done a brilliant job, and New Zealand, well, they're back in 7th. We've not seen that often this season, so yeah. Big decision for the crews to make at the bottom of the course. Where do they see the most wind? Where do they see their best chance to go and make those gains?
Yeah, we saw the Kiwis there with a penalty that pushed them back into that 7th place just after they'd made gains through the fleet. So, snakes and ladders.
Wow, this would be huge. Emily, you talked about it for MSGBR. They had a good run early in the season. This would be their first final since Toronto. Remember, they went back-to-back victories.
Oh, look at the Danish! No, we heard Nikolai say, I've lost the wheel. Wow, they swung that on a sixpence. Good save by Katja there. She stepped in, swung the boat hard when it was needed. Oh, and they're back in the race. They're still in the final as it stands.
Denmark, Great Britain, and Canada right now as it stands on the water. They'll head to the top of the course, then back down, and then the short blast to the finish line.
Sorry, I lost the wheel. Yeah. All right, going.
Wow. Good job, Katja was there to catch you then, wasn't it?
Denmark, Great Britain, and France right now as it stands would be into the final. We'll see what plays out here on the final upwind leg. Lisa Darmanin, has anything changed as far as conditions that would give you hope for maybe a New Zealand or Australia getting themselves in?
It's a little light on the right, huh?
Well, what's interesting, Todd, is this rain's really good. Australia's going to come Australia!
Oh my word! Oh, they got the wing all went wrong there. Something went wrong with the wing invert again. Oh no, have a look at it. Big moment. We've never seen that before in SailGP. They all look all right, the crew in the pods. Oh, plenty of experience there, but that disaster for the Australians. What a moment out there on the water.
So the 3-time reigning and defending champions absolutely stopped in the water as they put it over here on leg 5 of 7 in race number 5.
Oh, we're going to need to see a replay of that soon. I mean, everyone looks okay on the boat. That's the main news there. We come back to the race and we can see Seherstedt in the lead. What's this done to the overalls?
This has messed up the overalls a little bit, and currently we've seen Canada in 4th place, so they're not currently making this final. The French 1 point ahead of them making the final, so pressure is on Phil Robertson to gain a position if he wants to represent.
One more time. There we go. Let's watch as they come up win. Let's watch the wing sail in the middle here. What happens with that wing? They're sailing quite smoothly along here. We see there, that's... Oh, look, the wing just starts to invert. Someone pressed the button or something. They've had a problem with that wing invert. Look, it just flips the boat over. So, either someone pressed it or it's a malfunction. I don't know. Tash Bryan at the back's just going to run across the boat. Let's listen in.
He said all clear to leeward.
Oh, well, apologies for the language there, but clearly wrong button pressed, it sounded like to me there. Oh, someone's just resting a leg. I mean, have a look at it. Oh, absolute drama, but we should get back to the race. Bottom right-hand corner of our screen, the Spanish have worked some magic again on the upwind, and they're out in the lead. Where are the Kiwis? Kiwis show us 4th at the moment. ROCKWOOL Denmark 2nd.
Look at this. New Zealand is back in the mix.
It's so tight, Todd. This is so tight as we're going to head on to this final downwind. Canada back in 6th. The New Zealand crew just can't quite do enough at the moment. Giles Scott's British team showing us 2nd or 4th even at the moment. It's all just absolutely interested in it. British have the right of way. ROCKWOOL Denmark must go behind Spain. France need to be careful of Great Britain.
Not at the moment. They're away in 5. They're away in 3. Exit up 2.
It's so gusty. The Kiwis are off the foils. I think New Zealand are going to struggle from here. They don't look well set up. They're not going to make it to this gate without following. Disaster for the black foils, but Great Britain, they're in good shape. Spain are in good shape here. And ROCKWOOL, well, they're going to be happy with what they see, but he's got to watch out for the French.
Keep coming. My single there.
Elevated chatter, the calm before the chaos at gate number 5.
Canada on the inside, they have the right of way, but New Zealand are foiling and they're going to blow round the outside pretty easy here.
Look how close, look how close!
Oh, I'm surprised Burling didn't need to push that close to them. Canada just trying to slow them up.
No water.
Oh, what does that mean? Canada are out the final as it stands at the moment.
Yep, that'll put them into 4th, but New Zealand also out.
Can we pump?
Huge, and this is massive for Spain. Can they do enough? France potentially in the final as it sits at the moment. Denmark in the final and Great Britain in the final.
Emily, Spain has the lead, but they are still not into that final.
Exactly. Sometimes the points need chaos to happen behind you, so all they can do right now is sail their best race, get the points where they matter, and cross their fingers that something is going to happen behind them that will shift them forwards in those standings.
As they go by the Australians who just moments ago capsized their boat, looked like everyone was okay. We'll try to get a report on their condition and the boat's condition in just a moment. Meanwhile, the racing goes on here in the final fleet race of the day. It is Spain out in front, looking to make one more maneuver before the final gate. And right now, it is Great Britain 2nd, France in 3rd.
Oh, what a turn-up this would be. Spain perfectly set up here. They look in great shape to make it through the gate with no further problem. Emirates, Great Britain, this could be massive for their season. They had to make the final to have any hope of getting to that grand final in San Francisco. They're doing just that, and in some style getting back to 2nd. But New Zealand now needs a mistake from ROCKWOOL Denmark if they're going to have any hope, and I just don't see the Danes making a mistake from here.
After all kinds of chaos in Halifax, the 5th race goes the way of the Gallos. Vamos Gallos! Spain gets the win. Emirates GBR will take 2nd, the French will take 3rd, and with Denmark crossing in 4th, that could do in the Kiwis.
We'll do the Kiwis, Todd.
And that is confirmed. That puts GBR, France and Denmark through to the final race.
I never tried that before.
What, dropping the wheel, Nikolai? Yeah, I'd suggest you probably don't try it again, mate. It's not to be recommended. Amazing work by Katja to catch things there for them. But yeah, New Zealand, well, 5th. It might not be disastrous for their season. Probably the only team that can afford not a great result. But Canada, this could be disaster in terms of their hopes of making it to the grand final in San Fran. And it all looked halfway through that race like it was working out perfectly for Phil and his crew.
There you see the Canadians way on the outside. They will have the slow crawl home, already knowing their fate.
Oh my God, this is so painful.
I think he's echoing what you were saying, Steve.
Yeah, well, I mean, it'll be interesting to hear what happened on that last lap of the race, because they just, I mean, they made a few mistakes, whether things weren't quite clicking on the boat.
And that's been a wee finish, mate.
Just don't love to hear those noises from the Canadian boat. I mean, just gutted, absolutely gutted for the home fans.
Finish for Lee.
Gutted for his scooter for that. Philly doesn't seem too keen to tell him. Emily, can you tell him where they finished?
Up the board's going down.
Oh, I can, but I just feel like...
So the Canadians come through. Again, Australia has a capsize. They are still out in the middle. We're getting reports that everyone is okay right now, but we'll try to update that as more information comes our way as the front comes through. And what a finish as Spain gets the win. Emirates GBR second, France in third as we go down on the water. Emirates GBR, welcome back to the final as we join Giles Scott and his crew, including some of the best sailors in the world, Hannah Mills, Ian Jensen. Giles, welcome back to the final. It's been a while, but we're glad to have you and the Welsh goat in the show.
Yeah, it has been a while. It's been so long. It's a first. I've never been here before. So, yeah, certainly makes a nice change from the last couple of events, that's for sure.
Giles, well, just to let you know, there's only going to be 3 boats in this race, so it should be a little bit easier. And I'm going to ask Hannah, what are you going to tell Giles is the key priority in these 3-boat finals? You've been in a few yourself.
Get off the start, lead to Mark 1 and carry on to the finish.
Keep it simple.
Start, consolidate, win, Stevie.
It's a tight debrief, that one, Giles. Now, Giles, it's really gusty out there. Just how hard is it sailing the boat today?
Yeah, no, it's super tricky. Obviously, a lot of rain's just come in now as well, which makes it that bit more pleasant. But yeah, gusty, shifty. The Aussies obviously had a big one on that last upwind there, which no one wants to see, but hopefully they're all right. But yeah, real tricky day, but I suppose we're doing a reasonable job at it, so we'll just try and crack on as we are.
Giles, Hannah, thank you for your time. Wish you the best of luck in the finalists. Emirates GBR back in the final for the first time since Toronto when they went back-to-back events. So we'll see what Giles Scott and Hannah can pull off here. France finishes in second with 35 points, but look at the pileup just missing out. Spain, New Zealand, and Canada all tied on 34 points. 1 point short of making it to the event final. So a quick debrief, the fans aren't going anywhere. Despite the conditions coming through, everyone's going to stick around to see how this all plays out. Who will take home the top honors at the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix Halifax?
Can they come alongside if they can get overlapped alongside the Australians? Going to have to keep clear. Here we go, Australia's got to get out of the way. Crucial moment here. It's going to be a protest from Ainsley. Look at him. Oh, there's no drama with the acting skills there from Ainsley. What a moment.
So big. Ainsley, Hannah Mills, the rest of the crew delivered a masterful performance just when you thought they were out. Give the win to Emirates GBR at Saint-Tropez.
Awesome work.
Jimmy Spittle on the handles there. He's done a fantastic job of staying coiling. Expect a lead change. It's got really light under the Cadiz shoreline.
They are the new fearsome foursome of the Atlantic Ocean. It's Jimmy Spithill and the USA SailGP team. They come to Spain and they claim the victory.
Watch for the Aussies to sling inside, and it's Slingsby. He's pushing it hard. He's got to manoeuvre out the Danish way here. That's really close, maybe too close. Oh, that was really tight. What judgment by Slingsby. It's clear. No penalty there from the Australians. They judged that to perfection. What a move.
Here on home waters, Tom Slingsby works his magic. Hocus pocus. Australia takes the win in Sydney.
How's your time in there, Botin? You look like you could have judged this just to perfect. Watch the lights on. Right. It's go here, the Spanish. What a move. They've slung onto the inside, timed it well. Fastest angle with New Zealand, but the Spanish have the tactical inside position. New Zealand are going to have to open the afterburners from here.
Spain, who gets into the final here in Bermuda by a tiebreaker, and give it up to the Spanish. They will claim the victory here in Bermuda.
Oh, vamos, the guys.
amazing moment for this Spanish team.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
This is the 11th stop of Season 4 as we welcome you to the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix Halifax. Todd Harris, Stevie Morrison, Emily Nagel, and Lisa Darmanin as we are ready for the final race. The top 3 teams will battle it out here in Halifax as SailGP comes to Canada for the first time. And the fans are on their feet. SailGP comes to Canadian waters for the first time, and the show has not disappointed as we get set to go racing one more time. 3 teams have made the cut. The top 3 teams have fought their way through 5 fleet races, and now it is go time. Will it be Emirates GBR, France, or Denmark that walk away with the top title? Coming up on 2.5 minutes to go before we go racing, the conditions are extremely different than what we've seen. We've got a mixed bag throughout this weekend. I'll tell you what, Stevie, this is going to be very interesting. You see a little bit of a fog bank building up, so let's get a quick weather report down the water with Lisa Darmanin.
Also messed with the breeze. So when the rain approached, we had a big increase in breeze, and it's dying off a little bit, but it's still pretty pumping out here, and we should be in store for an exciting final. A little bit more room for the sailors to play, obviously, with only 3 boats, but it looks like that right turn at the bottom and into that Halifax crowd is really a big gain for the sailors. So it'll be interesting to see if we see as much overtaking in this race.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Denmark, you saw just a moment ago, their crew, an all-star crew indeed. The French are in the final. Emily, they've missed out on so many finals by a point or a tie-break, but now Quentin Delapierre and his squad are in the show.
Yeah, it's great to see this team back on form. They do traditionally do well in this bigger breeze, so I do expect them to come out fighting hard here. The Danish, you know, they've been one of the most consistent teams through the season, and then you've got the Brits who, you know, they've struggled to find their feet since Giles took over, but they have come out swinging this weekend.
Giles Scott looking for his first win as the driver for Emirates GBR, taking over for Sir Ben Ainsley. He has got so much talent on board, Steve. We can't even get to start talking about how many Olympic medals they have on that boat.
No, it's a wonder it takes off sometimes, that is for sure. But I think Luke Parkinson, Ian Jensen, big moment for them here. And the grinding team on that Emirates GBR team is always so big and powerful.
Great Britain, France, Denmark, welcome to the final. The course is 5 LG2. The axis is 355. Length is 0.75 nautical miles. Good luck.
Okay, so we've got the same course as before. The axis means that's the wind direction, so it's pretty much coming out the north. It'll be cold out there on the water, but these sailors won't mind that, just good breeze. Interesting, you heard Hannah Mills there say big righty at the moment. That means the wind's rotated more towards the right of our screen. You'd want to be more on the bottom end of this start line where France are heading for now. That's the pole position. They're shown as the pole predictors at the moment, but they potentially given Giles Scott room to wind up and come out below. They're all going to fight to be towards the bottom of our screen at the gun. Here come the British. They're up and foiling. They're going to start to press on the French, but it's about acceleration. All boats are early here. Here we go. 4 seconds. Watch for the line to turn white. Who's got the timing? Great by the British. They're out the middle of the line. Pole predictor says they look good, but all the boats were slow. It's an acceleration competition from here. Tactically, I like where Great Britain is, but can the Vikings put down the thunder and roll over the top from up there?
Hey, working back up. Hey.
It's going to be good for Great Britain, Todd, here.
Okay, coming down in 2, easing. 1, working down.
At mark number 1 of the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix Halifax, it is Emirates GBR that gets the whole shot. Fritz tucks in right behind them, and here come the Danes.
Look at the top of the mast there, 90 kilometres an hour on the Barroway.
Getting softer. Stand by. Yep.
That's 48 knots in old money sailing talk there. That's big boat speed at the Barroway, but more importantly, it's total control for the Brits. French first to turn, though. Have the French judged it right? They could potentially be inside here. Great Britain needs to be aggressive if the French can make the left turn. And then Giles Scott needs to be aggressive here.
So far, the Brits have nailed their plan. They nailed the start. They were first to mark 1. Now it's time to consolidate.
Hey, full speed here.
Oh, he looks good shape.
No overlap.
Okay, let's here.
No overlap. Getting softer.
Right now, Emirates GBR, as they approach gate number 2, they lead here at the event final. They are a well-oiled British machine, and we'll see how they handle this under high pressure.
I know Giles is new, but let's not forget Giles is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. He's used to these high-pressure races. He's been there, done that in the past, and we can see it's the boats behind them. The French have got real loose there. Oh, they came off the foils. Slow manoeuvre. Great news for the British. Big gains for the British team here.
Yeah, we can see minus ride height there for the French team just from where they've crashed down. Meanwhile, the Danish really pushing that foiling height over a metre above the water at times, which might be a little bit out of control there.
I think you've got to remember, Todd, as well, if you have a big crash like the French, the boat fills up with water, so it's really, really heavy. They've got to drain a certain amount of water to get rid, so it's not just the immediate moment. It takes a little while to get going. They're going now, but they've lost a good few hundred metres. Lisa, is there much hope out there for this French green to find better wind in near the Halifax shore?
I actually do like where they're heading. I did say that the wind had died off, but I can tell you right now it's picked up a lot. And where the French are heading, there's really good breeze. I think it's also going left shift, which means Denmark's a little bit compromised, but we still have the winds coming off the shore, so it's really gusty and lots of low-level cloud really messing with it. So it is a little bit of a shorter race, this one, so not as much time for the teams to catch up, and not much traffic as well. So it's, I think the French are looking pretty vulnerable right now.
Okay, so a left shift, that means the wind's turned towards the left, which would favour the British. It means it's turned towards their side of the course. It gives them an opportunity to sail less distance on that British boat.
And less distance is great, and currently they've also got the highest average speed, so brilliant sailing for them.
Here we go, we're on board the French now. Let's watch in the left-hand side of the screen here at the foil. Let's see how high they go across the boat. It gets all a little loose. Bit of a slip up on the wing trim there. As Kevin Pepinay, who's now on the left of our screen, left, the wing sail suddenly flew out. Contan maybe didn't quite have a good grip. Anyway, mistakes matter at this level, and the British now, that is a big lead. No mistakes from the British, and they should have complete control from here.
Look at the French, they've got themselves back into a good position right now as Emirates GBR, as they approach gate number 3, they have the lead here in the event final. Here comes Denmark, possibly, as Lisa said, with better pressure on that wing, but it is all Giles Scott and Emirates GBR now. As they make the turn on gate 3, they'll head towards Halifax.
Going the turn. A little bit more to come.
Really good breeze on in 15 this way.
So that's Hannah Mills, strategist at the back there. She's saying she likes the breeze. That means there's more velocity in the wind. They're sailing pretty much straight down the course. It looks pretty nice for the British crew at the moment here, and that's a good few hundred metres lead.
Coming, yeah. Let's extend into it.
It's a split. Lisa, we got a big split. Is there any hope for ROCKWOOL Denmark with this split?
Well, there has been a few Hail Marys out on that side. I think the British team, they just have too much of a lead there and plenty of pressure. So if they stick this manoeuvre, I think they're looking pretty safe.
Here we go. These are the sailors on board the boats here. I think Giles Scott, they're running across. I think the height deceptive. Luke Parkinson still stays in the pod, still flying the boat. Now he's handed control over to Giles to fly the boat. Luke runs across, and he's back on the tools.
And the Danish team have really been struggling for speed there on the left-hand side of the course, giving the advantage to that French team who followed the Brits inshore onto the Halifax side.
Gate number 4, the event final. It is still Emirates GBR. Giles Scott at the wheel. Stevie, the conversation is constant on board that boat, but it's calm constant.
Yeah, this is a pretty experienced crew out there, let's not forget. I mean, everyone on this boat, other than Giles Scott, has won several of these events, so there's a lot of experience there. And as I say, let's not lose sight of the fact Giles is a 2-time gold medalist. But another split coming from ROCKWOOL Denmark here. But those two interacting so closely with each other for the second and place only means more meters for the British crew.
And it's a 17-second lead right now for Emirates GBR over Denmark, 20-second lead over France as they will head upwind one more time, then it'll be back to the bottom and then the quick right-hand turn to the finish line.
Surprised where the British manoeuvred there. I think they've opened the door here, but definitely the wind has rotated in ROCKWOOL's favour.
Stick lefty on this corner.
We could see just how much pressure the Danish team gained by going into Halifax. They said 36 kilometres an hour pressure, the Brits down to 25. That is a big difference.
I think you're right, Emily, but I think most importantly as well, the wind's rotated left, and at the moment, the best angle to be sailing is the angle ROCKWOOL Denmark are on. So it's gains for ROCKWOOL Denmark, but they need the wind to rotate back the other way. So it's all in the hands of the god at the moment. Sehested's given themselves a chance, but it looks to me like a conservative approach from Giles Scott to try and bring things back together with the Vikings is good. But look, one wind shift and the right of way will be with Sehested. There's all the chance for this to change up a little bit here. It's going to be tight at this final gate.
The lead was 300 meters for Emirates GBR. It is now less than 100 meters.
Here we go, look, still 50 meters in it. Advantage Great Britain for sure. It's not quite happened for ROCKWOOL Denmark on that side of the course. They were hoping for more of a wind shift. British are ahead.
Good tack here, okay? Has 6.
Let's listen in.
This tack's going to be huge.
Yeah, let's watch it and listen to it. How unstable the boat is before the manoeuvre. The wind's so changeable.
Pressure on exit. Yeah, angle, yours. Fucking up.
Oh, and a little bit of a dip with some industrial language. Apologies. And you heard about it. We heard Hannah Mills talking about pressure on the exit.
Well, they were just unstable in. They were really unstable in, and they just dipped the hull in, and now they've opportunity. If ROCKWOOL Denmark can make this left turn, this is absolute game on. The British will be quicker. But they're not. But if they turn inside the zone, they can own that zone. Great Britain needs to go wide here. Watch out. That's what I mean. Those two are slowing each other up. France need to stay. Oh, but look at it. Carnage. Oh, the French had to keep clear. They got too high. That's handed it to the British. ROCKWOOL Denmark went full aggression with the French. Opened the door for the Emirates Great Britain, and that should be things done.
And that's almost game, set, match as Content de la Pierre comes in hot on that gate. And he had nowhere to go, Nikolai. Sehested sees the road bump, and both of them now look at the distance that Great Britain has opened up.
Well, he did have somewhere to go, Todd. He should have aimed down behind ROCKWOOL Denmark. There was no chance he was going to cross there. He was trying to push it. He was expecting ROCKWOOL Denmark to tack, and Nikolai said, no chance, mate. I'm hanging you out on the side of the course. So a bit of a mistake by the French. All that's done is handed this to Giles Scott. And what a moment in his SailGP career.
Stay split if you're happy, Marco. Okay, my rate.
Let's look at this one more time.
Here we go, we're on board the French. Crucially, the Danish are coming in. We see Man on there looking at the Danes. They're both looking at the Danes. They're expecting him to turn. He doesn't. Gets too loose on the flight control there, and he had to be out of the way. I mean, that's pretty inexcusable, really.
So it was less than 100 meters in a showdown at gate number 5. Turns in to a British walk in the park. Look at this top speed, 93.4 kilometers an hour, and it will be Giles Scott making the turn at mark number 6. Hannah Mills and company on the back of the boat as the British bring it home, and it will be welcome back to the winner's podium. It will be Emirates GBR that claims the win in Canada.
There you go, that's great. The whole crew really enjoying that. What a moment. Tight for second, though. Look at that bottom right-hand corner of the screen. De La Pierre's turned in front of ROCKWOOL Denmark. Can he keep the hammer down and stay round? ROCKWOOL Denmark going fast around the outside. It's an absolute sprint. Who's going to get it on the line? I think it's the French for me. Oh, ho, ho. Wow, how crucial is that point going to be at the end of the season, Todd?
What
absolutely
a way to
massive.
finish in Halifax. Great Britain gets the win. France in second. Denmark finishes in third. Plenty of moments to digest on this one. Stevie, Emily, let's go back to the start.
And what a start it was. Danish and French just a bit too early, allowing the Brits to come from behind and take a controlling position, slowing those two boats down and off of the foils. Now, Danish had the Rolex best time start of just a second behind the line, but the Brits had the best speed and pushed them past the breaking point.
That's good work there by the British. They held on the inside. Often when you got the inside in these 3-boat races, you get to control things tactically. ROCKWOOL just couldn't get the acceleration over the top. And really the story of the race was often second and third fighting with each other and just opening the door for the British. And they made full advantage of it. Very smooth when they were out in front. No real mistakes by the British. There'll be a few things to look back at, but this early part of the race was very accurate. And we saw there, I've got to say, I feel the French should get a bigger penalty than that. I don't feel it's right for the French to be ahead of the Danish after such a blatant foul. But, well, who's been the man of the day? For me today, you've got to hand it over. The ROCKWOOL rock star of the day. It's not often he's called a rock star, but it's Giles Scott. He's brought it home. Hats off to him. A lot of pressure on him, but really nailed it here in Halifax.
So it shakes down like this as SailGP comes to Canada for the first time. Giles Scott, driver of Emirates Great Britain, gets his first win as the head man on board. They take the 10 points on the season. France finishes in second with 9, and then it's ROCKWOOL Denmark finishing in third with the 8 points. Spain, New Zealand, and Canada just missing out on the big final. So that means after 11 events, it is New Zealand with a lead of 11 points. Spain has now moved into second place with 72 points. 3-time reigning and defending champions Australia now dropped to third. And then it is France, Denmark, Emirates GBR, Canada, USA, Germany, and Switzerland. We turn our attention now to the United States of America, and as everyone gets ready for the Big Apple, and we get ourselves into an Empire state of mind. Welcome to the Mubadala New York Sail Grand Prix. Look at the crowds lining the Hudson River.
Oh my Lord, disaster!
High speeds across the board. SailGP is back in New York City. These are the best athletes on water. And Lisa Darmanin down on the water with the winners, Emirates GBR.
Congratulations, Giles. What a crazy day. How do you feel?
Oh, buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. Yeah, awesome day of yachting, and yeah, just feel very fortunate to have an amazing crew to sail with, and yeah, we nailed it this weekend. So yeah, really stoked. Really stoked.
Thanks, Giles. I'll let you go. Get your prize and spray that champagne.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Giles Scott. Again, he takes over for Sir Ben Ainsley. A lot of pressure on him, Stevie, as they come in. Can he get the win? Can he fill in those massive shoes that Ben Ainsley? And he does. He answers the bell here when the pressure was on the most. People talking about, oh, pressure on Giles Scott. He says, you know what? Why don't I just step up and win this thing?
Yeah, and what a hard weekend to do it as well. We've seen some of the absolute legends and favourites of this SailGP not pull it off. There's been huge. I mean, we called out before the event, you know, was he the right person to be put in as driver? I mean, there's been some serious questions, which perhaps unfair, but I think maybe not needed. But that's a hugely experienced crew that's used to winning. They love these kind of conditions. I did say a bit of rain might help, didn't I, Todd?
Yes,
and,
you did.
I think that's really suited them. Look at that, there he is, Giles. Mountain of a man, and what a performance.
Emirates GBR gets the win here at event number 11 of season 4, so that's 3 wins on the season for them. The mayor of Halifax on hand to do the honors. Mike Savage will present them with the winner's trophy. Emily, there's bounce backs and then there's bounce backs. A team like Emirates GBR needed this like no one else.
What I think was most impressive about their performance this weekend, though, was the consistency. They didn't really have any bad results. They sailed consistently, and ultimately that got them through to the final, and they didn't scrape through. Like, they solidly got in there and just ran away with the victory.
You look at their report card, Stevie. They had a third, a fifth, a second, a third, and a second. So, of course, as Emily pointed out, it's all about being consistent. And now the mayor, Mike Savage, will clear out of the way. All right, final thoughts, Stevie, as we say goodbye to Halifax and look to New York City.
Well, anything's possible, Todd. If this event was wacky races, New York could well be Mario Kart on the water, because anything is possible in that venue. And now, hey, Tom Slingsby, pressure on.
No question about it. Will Slingsby respond? How will Peter Burley react as top? And then Spain, maybe the hottest team in SailGP right now for the moment. So on behalf of Lisa Darmanin, Emily Nagel, and Stevie Morrison, I'm Todd Harris saying so long from the Great White North as SailGP comes to Canada for the first time. It's Emirates GBR that gets the win at the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix Halifax. We'll see you in New York City. The fans have turned out en masse. They want to see the world's best.
Here come the French.
The Canadians bring it home for the win.
The Spanish look out of control.
Vamos, Australia!
Oh my word!
Vamos, Giles! Will it be Emirates GBR, France, or Denmark?
That's handed it to the British.